Welcome to TWitWoW, the best podcast on the internet today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and this is the weekly recap. I'm feeling a bit more chill, a bit more subdued this week. I have been babysitting our fur babies. I've got a collie husky and a tortie cat who has my whole heart. I'm all about that tortitude, folks. So I've been kind of babysitting. Fam's supposed to be coming back tomorrow, which I'm thrilled about. But TwitWow never stops. Rain or shine, we're always just one click away to being in your computer screens. We appreciate you vibing with us. And so you guys know, weekly recap is pro wrestling, politics, and pop culture. So let's get into it, I guess. I mean, I gotta tell you, man, one story that I want to talk about out of the gate, if you don't mind, because I never want to catch you off guard or anything. This whole Oba Brock story, with Brock all of a sudden coming back when it really looked like he retired at Mania, and leveling Oba with, I believe, 4 F5s. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, like, I hate this because this again shows that there really is only one Brock Lesnar, whatever we may think of the human being. You gave up on Oba's open challenge so quick. You're really like just doing anything to pad things out to SummerSlam. And I don't know if this was a verbal botch or if this was intentional to be like, wink, wink, we found a loophole. But when Paul Heyman has the backstage segment with Adam Pearce afterwards, with Pearce pretty much being our avatar, being like, what the hell is going on? You need to explain these things to me. I could swear I heard Paul call Lesnar Brock Legner, and so I'm wondering, like, you might as well put a mask on the dude and be like, that's not Brock Lesnar, that's Bork Laser or something.
I'm pretty sure that was just a verbal mistake from Heyman.
I'm sure of it too, but it's just funny that given this whole angle of not being really retired or whatever, maybe they just like he's like freelance now. I don't know what their angle's going to be on that. But either way, the more fundamental point being, whatever that rationale is, I didn't really care for this. To me, it reeked of like, you have no ideas. There aren't really many credible threats because Rusev just feels like a mid-carder all over again. Because Rusev would have been a good guy to step up to Oba, maybe have like a 1-2 month
But they
program.
already had that already this year already.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was such a blip, though, it didn't matter. And that's the thing. Like, I'm just saying, like,
Because
if they would
Oba
have protected
dominated
Rusev more.
him.
Yeah, if they would have protected Rusev more, and Oba should be dominant, don't get me wrong. But, like, I just feel like recoursing to Lesnar is just lazy, and it betrays, like, shallowness in the
I want to
roster.
know where the hell Sheamus is, because he would have been perfect for an Oba feud.
I feel like he's injured, and I don't even know if I want to see him as heel again, honestly. I feel like he's really connected with people
he
as
wouldn't
a
have to be
babyface.
a heel, though. That's the thing, because with Oba, like, you could send a babyface after him, and their match would just be such a banger that both of them would come out of it looking better even after Oba gets the win.
You could just I guess as a babyface, Sheamus could just be like, listen, I love to fight, and I see how you fight, and I want a piece of that.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
let's slug it out. But yeah, man, I look, I don't want to be redundant, so just long story short, I didn't like this.
No, yeah,
I'm
I'm with you
curious though,
though.
how
I'm
you
with
feel
you
about
for
it. Yeah,
sure. I think having Brock, not only is Brock coming back at all, which, like, Jesus Christ, how many times are we gonna fake real life shit to try and get a reaction? The whole fake retirement thing. Seth's fake injury. Like, how many more times are we going to betray the trust of our audience before everything just becomes meaningless and everyone stops believing anything? Um, but not only is Brock already coming back after supposedly having retired a month ago, like they didn't even wait that much longer than a month. But like, it feels like if they were gonna have Brock and Oba run it back at all, they should have waited for like a bigger show to do it at.
I mean, good for the Italian crowd, a
Well, that's
clash
the
in
thing, though,
Italy.
right? Like, it's an Italian, like, Italy and really Europe in general just has absolutely nothing to do with either of these guys. Like, this isn't a show that, like, it's one of their hometowns or home countries, or they can trace their lineage back to Italy. Nothing. There's no actual connection to the city that they're going to be in or the country that they're going to be in whatsoever. There's nothing really special about this specific edition of Clash that really suggests that doing Oba Brock it would make it that much more special. It's just a Clash show, and they've decided that they are going to do this now. When you could have done it on SummerSlam. You could have waited even longer and done it as Survivor Series. You could do Team Brock versus Team Oba in a War Games match if you want. Like there's a lot of different ways they could have gone about this, but it just feels like they're running it back too soon. And not only does it feel like they're running it back too soon, but it already feels like they're betraying the idea of Brock Lesnar being retired too soon as well. Like even if that was inevitable, even if they knew the whole time that Brock wasn't actually retired and they were just running an angle for WWE Unreal, which is probably exactly what's fucking happening, and fuck WWE Unreal and everything about that shit because of this garbage that they're adding to stories now to try and make things more convoluted, basically.
Yeah.
But even with all of that considered, they really couldn't just wait longer to fucking do it. They really had to rush it. Like you go from Oba having an open challenge 1 week of Otis, and then the next week nobody wants to answer it, and he goes back and gets the Garzas. And then week 3 of Oba supposedly having an open challenge already before he even gets to say anything, before he even gets an opponent to come out, Brock just attacks him, and we set this up, and it's just over.
Yeah. I especially agree with you that I feel like Oba really wasn't able to like embrace or milk. Like not that he'd boast about it in promos like excessively because he's not a heel. This wasn't like when Lesnar ended the streak. But I feel like we should have let him have that augmented aura for a bit longer, let it breathe. I agree with you on that completely. And now I'm worried that Brock's just gonna go over and get the win back. And I hate that too, because really, honestly, I think it'd be more impressive to be like Oba beat him twice in a row.
Yeah, no,
And
I
maybe they'll
I
do that.
fully I fully expect Brock to win this so that they can set up a rubber match and make even more money off of this feud because it is a money feud and they're
Yeah.
making money out of it. Like they're gonna milk it for all it's worth. They're gonna get as much juice as they can out of this squeeze.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that either. But again, I also feel like it's just, oh, we gotta, space things out to get him to Roman to SummerSlam and this and that. And actually, before I transition into talking about Jacob and Roman, because that's the other big story, did you have anything else you want to say about Oba Brock? Because I didn't want to cut you off prematurely.
I don't think that
So,
there's really much else to say other than what we've already discussed.
all right, fair enough. So we have Jacob come out. He wants to throw down with Roman again because Backlash didn't go his way. We talked about Backlash and their feud a lot last week. But then the Usos come out. It's this whole thing. And long story short, Jacob gets laid out by the Usos and Roman. It felt like an OG bloodline beatdown,
Yep.
which incidentally, in a later backstage segment, LA Knight would kind of say the same thing to the
He
Usos. Like,
confronted
are
him
you guys
about it,
really,
yeah.
yeah, like, are you guys really doing this again? Now, of course, fuck LA Knight. We're not going to, platform him any further. Mid
This
card
was
piece
his
of
first
shit.
appearance, I think, since Mania. And he did a lot of like voice of reason stuff on this episode. It's the most I've liked him in a while.
Yeah, it was definitely more grounded. It was less gimmicky. He also had a segment with Seth, and honestly, like I kind of dug that too because he really laid out
Yeah,
for Seth what was going to happen, and then he said like you're going to need people out there, but I'm not going to be one of them. And
yeah.
he's like, go and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, they lay Jacob out, and then Roman goes with his title. He tells Adam Pearce, and it's actually kind of funny seeing their relationship because I remember, during the whole Tribal Chief grand arc, when he was very antagonistic to Pierce. In fact, let's remember, he originally tried to get Pierce in a last man standing match before Pierce feigned an injury and was like, oh, thank goodness in contracts, cards subject to change. And then we got Kevin Owens and we got that amazing last man standing match at that year's Rumble. So it was interesting kind of seeing them on the same side here because Pierce seemed like he was more than ready to like suspend Jacob or do something. And Roman even said like, "Oh, do what you want with him." But then Jacob grabs a microphone, still showing that he could speak from the beatdown, which again shows toughness and resilience.
Yeah.
And he says, "Roman, tribal combat." And the Usos were like, you don't have to do this. Even Adam Pearce was like, no, you don't have to do this because I feel like he is looking at it from the perspective of these are my two assets. Like Roman is straight up my world champion. I don't want to see him compromised, so I kind of liked his mentality on that. And the Usos, I think felt like, you don't have anything to prove to him, blah, blah, blah. But then I loved when Roman mouthed, I believe, to Jimmy, like, I have to. And then he's like, I accept. So I guess that is kind of the change in Roman's character. Before, I feel like Tribal Chief was just a distinction that he had and he felt like he was just going to hold on to by right alone, that he
Yeah.
never really had to earn it. Now, I feel like he feels like he has to earn it. He has to revalidate it, through every challenge he has. So I do like that little nuance in the character all these years later. But I will say this, low key, I'm really hoping Jacob just wins Tribal Combat. I don't think he
I'm
will. I do think the big money matchup is Roman Oba at SummerSlam with Oba getting the crowning.
Yeah, but did
But
you've heard all of these rumors that Roman's dates in June have all been like canceled basically, right?
no, I have not actually. This is
This is
news to me.
something that came out a while ago. This is not new by any means, but there were rumors, I want to say towards the end of April. It might have been beginning of May. It was a while ago. It was like it was over 2 weeks ago, but probably less than a month ago. Let me give you like a little range of time there. There were a lot of rumors coming out on the internet that all of the dates that Roman was supposed to be appearing on TV in June were being removed from the schedule for him.
Yeah, okay. That's very
So
interesting.
that makes me a little bit skeptical about whether Roman will retain, but that also just because I know the way that the internet works and these fucking dirt sheets are always getting worked and being used to work the internet audience as well, it makes me really, really start to think that those reports were the fucking work and that those reports that Roman's not going to be appearing in June was just a way to get the internet to believe that Jacob is beating him for the title and then Roman's just going to retain, and we're going to see him in June, and everything's going to be status quo, and it's going to turn out that we were getting worked all along by the fucking dirt sheets.
I'm too tired for this, man. Like I'm telling you, like, because I could see that, and I'm like, man, just tell me a straightforward story. Like, what the hell? Why do I gotta worry about all this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I could see it either way. I mean, look, Roman, he's having a life outside of pro wrestling, which I would encourage every wrestler to do if they have the means to do.
Yeah.
And
The
so I
means
don't
are
know.
not always easy to come by, though. There are, a lot of pro wrestlers that aren't exactly making the kind of money necessary to be able to afford a life outside of wrestling.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So I am, as a fan, I'm hoping that Jacob wins. Although really, I'm hoping that Oba wins everything in the end.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
also kind of my apprehension is like if they put the title on Jacob now, they're not going to just have Oba beat him in 2 months. That would be ridiculous. They're not going to have that many short title reigns in that little of time, especially with Phil still around and existing and wanting the title. Like, my guess is that Roman holds the title until SummerSlam, and then Oba challenges him for it and loses, and it builds up to eventually Oba winning the Rumble.
so then you think Oba and maybe Roman would run it back at Mania
Maybe Roman,
then?
maybe Phil. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Because it also seemed like Phil might do something with Cody just because of the promo exchange they had a few
That
weeks
would
ago.
probably be the ideal. I think the ideal WrestleMania 43 main event duo would be Phil Cody on one side and then Roman Oba on the other.
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine if Roman Oba was like the actual main event of like night two and Oba already main eventing a Mania and he's not even 30 yet? That would be insane. I doubt it. I doubt it, but it would be insane.
It would be
I'd be
incredible.
so I'd be so fucking happy for him. And he
Yeah.
could pull it off too. That dude's got
Oh yeah.
talented, broad fucking shoulders, people.
Hmm.
Um so and now Foster has joined us. I was wondering if we were gonna get anybody to join us. I'm like, it's unusually quiet. I know we're still kind of early in the show. But Foster said, low key, I want the Usos to try to get involved, but Jacob has no backup and destroys everyone to win the belt. Not gonna lie, I want Jacob as champ more than Oba. I mean, that is kind of the one good thing about this era, Foster. In my opinion, obviously people are gonna have different performers in this space and whatever, but I do feel like there is a good bit of star power that's also young. I personally really like Braun Breaker. I think a lot of people like Oba. A lot of people love Jacob. That is a good thing going on in the men's scene, in my opinion. And yeah, I do think when Jacob wins his first world title, it's gonna be good shit, man. It's gonna be good
Braun
fucking shit.
Breaker is one of these guys like a Mark Jindrak almost,
Yeah,
where he just has all the upside, all the ceiling in the world. He has got, the size, the athleticism, the look. He's entertaining on the mic. I feel like he just hasn't really put it all together yet. Like he's still quite kind of trying to figure out how to be a star.
and I feel like, again, just my personal opinion. Apparently, there was a Saturday night's main event tonight, which I had
Yeah, there
no
was.
idea about.
There was.
Um, so yeah. Uh, But I feel like he was starting to put it together a little bit as a babyface, and we've got all the dogs barking in Cincinnati or whatever and stuff like that,
And,
and
and
just
that,
spearing people.
yeah, in NX too.
Like, yeah, NXT, and then for a brief bit on the main roster when he had one of his either his first or second Intercontinental title run, he was more babyface in that
Gotcha,
one.
gotcha.
And then they just turned him heel again, joining up with Seth, which quickly dissolved. I thought it could have been something great, and then it
Yep.
just kind of fell apart.
I do just
So
want to
yeah,
say,
man.
by the way, Saturday night's main event, no titles changed hands.
Okay, so yeah, it seemed like a pretty insignificant show just from what
Yeah.
I've gleaned of it.
There was,
So,
I would say, the most important result was that Sol Ruka did beat Becky Lynch, but it was by DQ. And even if the title was on the line, because it was by DQ, it wouldn't have changed hands. But the title wasn't even on the line. So now we're getting Sol Becky at Clash in Italy
man,
for
that
the
Clash
title.
in Italy card, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
got a lot
Clash in
going on.
Italy is looking like a little miniature WrestleMania rewind.
Hey, if I'm an Italian and I wanted WWE, to do something big with us, I mean, I right now wouldn't feel too disappointed with this card on paper. We'll have to see how the actual show is later. But yeah, let's see if there's anything else noteworthy from Raw because we're not a recap show completely, but I
Dude,
just
the
want to see if
crazy
there's
thing about
anything.
Clash in Italy is that it is literally next weekend. Like,
Yeah,
we had Saturday night's main event this weekend, and Clash in Italy is next weekend. But it's Sunday, I believe, not Saturday.
there is one more thing I want to talk about from Raw because again, we're not a pure
Okay.
recap show. I just want to talk about the biggest stories. Okay, how do I want to put this to you? Because I actually want to make a conversational and I want to involve you right away. Do you think the Street Profits could be close to breaking up? Because
Oh,
there was a really interesting. Now look, I'm not trying to sorry. I'm just saying for me when I saw this of Seth going against the Vision and the whole match kind of breaks down because I think it was Seth beating Austin Theory. I think that's yeah, because he hit him with a pedigree and he pinned him. Then Braun Breaker's kind of doing an assault, whatever. Then oh God, I'm blanking on his name. It's Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins. I got it. Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins comes out and he
to
helps,
try and
and
help Seth.
he helps Seth. Yeah, he looks great, by the way. Very proud of the work that Angelo's put in. But then he does that. Montez falls because I already thought it was weird that Angelo came out by himself. But then Montez follows, and he actually looks at Montez like he helps
Yeah,
clear it. He does dives and stuff like that. But
yeah.
then when he does his offense and he clears things, he gives Montez or gives
Angelo.
Angelo, excuse
Yeah,
me, this look. And that look, it was almost like he was pissed at him, and then he
yeah.
kind of tells him
Well,
"What did
because
I
he,
tell
he
you about
doesn't
getting
want to
all
be
this stuff?"
messing with Seth, but Dawkins has more empathy for Seth, I think.
Yeah,
I think
and I think that's exactly
you
what it
know what?
is.
Here's my thing. I love the Street Profits as a tag team, and I really want them to just succeed. But if they were to break up and we were to get specifically a heel Montez Ford and a babyface Angelo Dawkins out of it, I think those guys are both successful. I think both of the Street Profits have very successful singles careers in their range of outcomes as performers. I think they're both very talented. I think they can both be single stars for sure. I would absolutely love it if a day comes that Bianca Belair is able to return and we get her and Montez Ford as an on-screen heel couple talking about we're going to do what we need to do to make things work out so that we can support this family because we got this new baby girl. I don't even know for sure if it's a girl, but uh like have them be like Kevin Owens like prize fighter style heels where they're willing to do anything, even the most like awful horrible shit, but they justify it with but our daughter though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That would be
Yes.
so fucking compelling. I would love that shit.
God, not to be a broken record, but since you brought him up, I'm still really deeply missing Kevin Owens. Goddamn.
I am so
Um,
sorry for causing that pain to you.
no, you didn't. Reality did when he injured his neck, and now he's just been out. I don't know if he's coming back, but if he comes back, I probably will cry. I'm gonna be real with all of you, and I'm still gonna root for him to win one last world title because that Universal title reign was bullshit. Fuck you, Goldberg. Um, so yeah, I
Mhm.
like where your head's at with it. The Street Profits are so weird because I've always seen the world in Montez, and especially Montez and Bianca, as an on-screen couple. I mean, I know they're a real life couple, but you get what I mean. It's like an on-screen act together. I see more now than I used to in Angelo Dawkins. I do. That dude's put the work in. He's in amazing shape, and I think he's got his own sense of charisma that can make him a very endearing babyface to
I
people.
think he's
I
better in
do.
the ring than Montez. I think Angelo Dawkins is far more compelling in the ring than Montez Ford. Montez Ford is pretty much like a one is it one act pony? Is that the phrase?
Yeah, one
One
trick
trick
pony.
pony. One trick pony. Yeah. He's kind of a very one dimensional guy because like he's a freaky athlete. That's his one trick. It's a very good one trick. He's really good at being a freaky athlete. It's exciting and it makes the crowd pop for sure. But like I don't think he has very good ring psychology. His moves aren't super impactful. Like there are a lot of like holes in his in-ring game, which is probably why he's in there with Dawkins anyway, because then like Dawkins gets to do more of like the heavy hitting impact stuff. And then you tag Ford in and he does the frog splash out of the fucking sky. And it looks awesome and it's a great ending to their tag matches. But like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think Ford has a longer ways to go to becoming a star than Dawkins because Dawkins I think has pretty much everything down. He just needs some kind of like catchy gimmick to get over with the crowd more.
Yeah, I want to address Foster's concerns because
Foster's
I
concerns are completely valid, by
yeah, I was gonna say I'm bringing them up because I know sometimes I may interact with chat a little too much, but I do think this is relevant because we both fundamentally share his concern. Like Montez Ford was the guy that Triple H forgot about in that United States Championship
the way.
Chamber a few
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, like Triple H hasn't beaten the allegations, so I feel like Montez might be caught. In fact, I hate to say it, but I feel like Montez' greatest hope is just with how over Bianca is and just the kind of value that she's brought to the
Oh
women's division and
no,
everything.
not
Um,
Montez Belair,
oh God.
fucking Mike Kanellis.
Yeah. But Angelo Dawkins, I feel even worse for because I mean, at least Montez got that chamber opportunity.
You know what
Angelo's
though?
never had an opportunity to show
I
anything
do
singles.
apologize for interrupting you, but this me saying Montez Belair led me to realize that that would actually get them over even more as heels because
Yeah.
like him being this like finesse wrestler who jumps around a bunch and has like all these high flying moves, and then also combine that with him taking his wife's name in marriage and her being this main event level star and him being more of a tag team guy, kind of sells this idea that he's like a beta almost, like
Yeah.
the alpha male like fucking manosphere types would fucking hate him. They would be like, "Oh, this guy fucking sucks. He's a beta cuck." But then like the real thing that like pushes it over to the top is when he's successful. Like he does all this shit and he's successful anyway, and that makes those types of people insane and jealous and pissed and even more angry than they already are, which like you don't get into that particular community without already being pretty fucking angry about certain things.
Dude, I love where your head's at. I love that idea. Yeah, I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was very interesting that Montez would have issues with his own partner when because see, my original thought until Montez gave that look, because we're both pretty checked out. was that they're still going for the tag titles. So Montana,
Yeah, they
Angelo
lost
is
their tag title
pushing
shot
them.
tonight.
Yeah, god damn it,
Yeah,
man.
they
Fuck.
challenged the Vision tonight and lost. Obviously, the Vision cheated, but yeah, they did lose.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to say it, Foster. This is not me trying to scumbag. This isn't me turning up. I'm being incredibly sincere. I do think a breakup might be happening. Then again, I thought the Machine Guns were going to break up, and then it turns out they were just released. So I never know with this fucking company,
Oh
honestly.
God, that's cursed.
Dude, I know. Yeah, I hate this company so much. I really just hate capitalism and what it does to every industry so much. The
Yeah.
enshittification of pro wrestling has been fucking agonizing. Um,
Thanks a lot,
let's
TKO. Fuck you, Vince.
your tone, even when you're speaking normally and just, your disgust just pops me and it's so relatable. All right, now on to NXT.
Oh, you get to tell
Um,
us about this because I don't know shit.
well, I did watch YouTube clips actually,
Oh, I
for
did
the
not.
most part. So, yeah. God, this actually felt like a meteor episode to NXT's credit.
Oh,
But let's talk about the big thing.
where's the
Saquon Sugar.
beef?
Yeah, well, I'm about to give it to you. Saquon Sugars has been expelled from Dark State. He's done.
He's too good for
Um,
that shit faction anyway.
yeah, they triple power bombed him through the announce table. Uh, the betrayal came because Saquon got pinned in the tag title match against Vanity Project, and yeah, they just decided he needed to go. I Here's the thing, because the booking, in my opinion, of Dark State was shit. I actually think this could be a net positive for Saquon. A lot of people talk about how Sean is a lot better with black wrestlers on the whole than Triple H is. I could see Saquon getting a major babyface push here. I am actually really excited for him. I don't know if I really should be. Maybe it's all going to be a disappointment for us. But this is an interesting development. I really don't see Dark State going much further than this. I feel like once a breakup happens, it really doesn't recharge the group. It's not like Evolution hit a new peak when they kicked Randy Orton out. Then it was just, oh, we're going to build the next singles guy in Batista and stuff like that. So I do wonder what happens here with just these three guys. I can't imagine it's going to last much longer. In fact, I guarantee you by this time next year, Dark State will have probably been like just a finished concept. But again, I've been wrong before. Could very well be wrong again. But yeah,
Dude,
Saquon, I think that's exciting.
the geek quotient in Dark State just went from 1 and 4 to 1 and 3.
Oof. God. I mean, first of all, I hate when you do math, but I think what's even worse is when you do math that's just so viscerally correct. Fuck. Um, so
Next thing you know, Cutler and Dion are gonna team up to kick Osiris out, and then it's just gonna be a tag team, Dark State. It's just gonna be Cutler and Dion, and then Cutler is gonna betray Dion, and he's gonna be the one that did all the betraying the whole time because he was the fucking problem the whole goddamn time. And then Sean's gonna put the world title on him because that's how things work in NXT.
God, dude, just imagine your credibility if you were like, yeah, I got betrayed, and you got betrayed by the dork of the group. What the hell?
Well, Saquon Sugars literally did. He was betrayed by three men, one of whom was the dork of the group.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, God damn it. Um, yeah. Again though, I am excited for Saquon. I would hope that he could maybe win the NXT North American Championship on his own because now he doesn't have to worry about these guys distracting him and the petty squabbles and everything. But maybe Dion will do it before him because right now it still is Miles Bourne, but I know Miles. He's got problems because okay, what was this guy's name? Cam Hendricks pinned him in a
Oh,
tag match. He
that
teamed.
new guy. Yeah, he's like brand new. I've never seen him before in my life. He just started popping up this week, and now all of a sudden he's pinning the North American champion and challenging the world champion in the same fucking breath. Like, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. What is going on?
everything's imploding
I
except
feel
my
like
face.
Ron
So
Burgundy in the sense that
yeah,
both at the same time, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills and I'm in a glass case of emotion at the same time.
yes, yes. Oh my God. So yeah, I think Saquon being expelled, that's one of the bigger stories this week. I'm really curious about Saquon's future, but that happened. Again, Mason
According to
Rook and
Alex Foster, Tavion also got roped into Miles's business, so Tavion may challenge Miles soon.
I really like Tavion. I think we all like Tavion here right now because I think you're like
He's
the most
not
active
in
person in the
Birthright,
chat.
is he?
No, he's not.
But Miles
No.
is?
Miles, I don't think is in Birthright. Your
No,
Birthright's a heel
no.
faction, so no.
It's a Nepo baby faction, and for some reason I associate Miles with being a Nepo baby because he's Randy Orton Jr., but he's not actually related to Randy Orton.
Yeah. God damn it. But yeah, yeah. So Cam Hendricks pinned Miles Bourne. It was a tag team. Cam Hendricks and Mason Rook versus Miles Bourne and Tony D'Angelo, the NXT World Champion.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's champions versus challengers, basically.
Pretty much. So yeah, it was a fine match. And to give context to what Foster said, Tavion got involved because he went after Cam Hendricks because I think Cam might have gotten the jump on Tavion either earlier in the show or at a past show, but he knocked Cam into Miles, and then Tavion's just like, "Oh, my bad," and he's apologizing, and then Miles is like, whatever, I'm trying to focus." Mason destroys Miles. Cam steals the tag and the pin. Um, okay, so a little bit to unpack here for me.
While
Oh
you're
my god.
unpacking, or while you're thinking about how you're going to unpack, Draven popped the shit out of me in chat. They said, Bootleg Legacy? Yeah, from now on, my new nickname for the Birthright is Boot Legacy.
Yeah, there you go. I was wondering while you were laughing while I was talking, and I was like, I guess I'll ask him later, and then yeah, there we go, there we go. Um, so because you didn't watch this, I feel like I'm kind of carrying the NXT portion just with my own opinions, which thank God it's my face, it's not that unbearable, right? So Mason Rook, I really want to like this dude, but I still feel like there's a disconnect. Um, the ring gear. I did not really care for the ring gear. Honestly, dude, I gotta tell you, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying this because I know we've kind of dogged on the hairstyle in the past. I posted in the Discord that interview that Mason Rook did because I'm still gonna call him by his name now.
Dude,
Did he what?
he is the most AEW coded signing the WWE has probably ever done.
Dude, I don't even think he would disagree with you. He literally in that interview ended it by saying, "Hey Tony, have you got anything for me?" Because he wanted to wrestle Samoa Joe.
It's just
Like
funny though,
I
because
don't.
like I saw him in his ring gear, and all I could think of was Brodus Clay without the charisma.
Yeah, oof. See, and again, like in that interview, he seemed like a chill dude, a personable dude. I actually, and again, this is what I was gonna say earlier before, because I wanted to hear, your thoughts there. I liked the mullet that he had, and a lot of the comments, if you read the comments, were like he should have kept the mullet in NXT. And you know what? I agree because I don't like the haircut he has. I'm telling you, he looks like just some like oversized fan that jumped the guard is like beating up people, and he's just not being stopped. But the mullet,
I
I
have
think, made him
seen
a bit more
so many
distinctive.
comments saying that he looks like an FTM trans guy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ! I know one comment called him Chaz Bono, and like
I
it's
don't know who
it's
that
rough,
is.
man. Well, it's like some kind of dated reference. I actually forget who that is, but yeah, like well, Foster, I think NXT might even be positioning him as a babyface too, but I'll get to why in a second. I just want to talk more about Mason as a performer because we're going to be talking a lot about this guy just because it really does seem like NXT has big plans for him. I want to like him. He seems like a cool dude. I said in the Discord, he really seems like he genuinely loves the fucking He might love the business more than I do because I'll tell you something
Dude,
about pro wrestling, guys.
just to
I
be
don't
clear
really,
though, like this is a
yeah.
guy that we've said several times looks like a fan, and now you're basically saying that you want to like him because he's a fan.
Well, I mean, I want him to succeed, I guess is the thing. We always root for everybody, but he does have that problem. Like aesthetically, I'm just not buying the aesthetic. I mean, here's the crazy
The
thing.
thing
Brodus,
is, like he mentioned Samoa Joe, if he looked the way he does and moved the way Samoa Joe does,
I
I'd
think
be
we'd be
way
sold.
more invested. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
He moves the way he looks. He doesn't
Yeah.
move like a guy that's built like Samoa Joe moves. Like he moves more like Piper Niven than Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it's a shame because I mean, I even said like since we're talking about Joe, like Joe, if it comes to big guys, and really I would even say wrestlers in general for me, like Joe is an all timer. Joe is so complete. I
Yeah.
mean, even take the in ring out of it, I fucking love it, dude. Even just for the bar alone on Jeff Hardy, treat this like an AA meeting and shut up while I'm sharing with the group. The dude doesn't even need to put you in a coquina. The mic is the coquina sometimes for people. The dude was the complete package.
Yeah.
Mason is really young,
Is
right?
he?
I think. I think he should just be in his like at most his mid 20s. I thought he should be in his 20s. I wonder if I can get an exact age on him because I thought he was on the younger side. Let's see here.
29.
Wow, that's actually older than I thought. To be fair, okay, that is older than I thought. Okay, well, that's also another
He
problem.
will
I
be
don't know.
30 in October.
I guess the good news for him is we're just two guys that like our opinion in the grand scheme means nothing because the NXT crowd already loves him. Like he's already got his own chant. He's big, he's bad, he'll body slam your dad. Like they're already
That's
chanting that with
that's
him.
just the chant from the indies. Like that's what the indie crowds chanted for him.
Well, I guess he has that crossover. I guess it just got imported, or
Well, that's
exported, I
because
guess.
it's NXT though.
Yeah, but I don't know. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm just recapping here, but it's just yeah. I mean, he's over with the crowd right now. I don't know if he'll translate on the main roster. I do think he's slow. I don't like the ring gear. The look just isn't really believable to me. But it's working right now for him, I guess. And I will say, I do think he had a great segment later in the show when he took out Cam Hendricks because Cam was being a little shit. He didn't want to share credit with Mason. And Mason just kind of laid him out with like the DVD in the corner. Which is why I think Foster NXT does see him as a babyface because the crowd was behind him, the crowd popped for him doing it, and Cam very clearly was being an arrogant prick.
Yeah,
So at most, I would say,
NXT's audience will almost always gravitate to the novel. They love anything new, anything that looks new to them, anything that seems new, anything that gets brought in, especially if it's like hot indie acts. The NXT audience is always going to latch onto that. You got to give it a few months to give the act an opportunity to potentially cool down or for the crowd to turn on them. It's basically a matter of letting the crowd get used to the novel act and let the novelty wear off, and then we'll see how over they really are.
yeah, I guess I mean, I don't know though. NXT might be engineering it where, I mean, he could have a Kevin Owens-esque rise where he wins the title fairly quickly. The only difference being, I think Kevin Owens is on a
Well,
completely different score system to fuck Mason Rook.
the thing that's again though, like this is why I don't watch NXT because you're right. I'm not. You're 100% right. He could absolutely get immediately catapulted into the world title picture, but the
Yeah,
NXT world title means so much less now than it used to. Like
yeah,
since Oba held it, I feel like that title has had such a free fall in credibility. It's unbelievable. And even like Tony D being the world champion feels wrong. Like Tony D to me has always been a mid card guy. The fact that he even beat Oba for the North American title felt gross to me. And now they have him as their world champion. And it's out of desperation. It's because all of their potential world champion talents that they actually got behind and pushed have been called up by now. But
yeah.
like, that's no reason that you put it on a Tony D and not a Saquon Sugars with an entire faction behind him to justify him winning.
Or even, I mean, look, I'm not saying this because I prefer him to Saquon, but I'm just thinking narratively and story wise. Dion Lennox. I mean, I think the whole
Keanu
reason
Carver would have been a great option too.
Keanu Carver also would have been a great option, but I say Dion because I feel like Dark State even started low key because Oba disrespected Dion and nobody really saw Dion as like, in kayfabe as a main event guy. And this is why you should have really pushed Dark State and done better by them because you would have had at least two main event guys in Saquon and Dion, in my opinion, ready for that mantle. Like you said, I love Keanu Carver. Not only am I not going to fight you on that, I enthusiastically agree. I love Keanu Carver and Evolve. In fact, I think it's actually kind of a crime that he didn't end Jackson Drake's title reign. But I'm not even touching Evolve anymore. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I saw that reign end the way it did, and I'm like, wow. So it's kind of dead to me. But yeah, I mean, NXT definitely has a main event problem that I think they're hoping Mason Rook can give like a new direction, but he's slow to me. The stuff that he does, it looks fine. Like the DVD in the corner looks fine. That stuff looks fine, but there's no snap to it. Like I just feel like it's like okay, we're just kind of going from point A to point B. And again, it's a shame because he seems like a good dude. I'd like to have a drink with the dude, but this isn't about that. It's about how are you as a performer, and there is a bit lacking. Um, the mic is okay. He actually does seem to have a personable quality to me on the microphone. I guess because he does look like a fan. Maybe that's the one sole benefit of it. But even then, like maybe you should be a bit more menacing. Like I know again they're worlds away, but I know people like Jim Cornette used to make fun of like Kevin Steen for like the weight and stuff for years. Here's the fucking thing though about Kevin, whether you want to say Owen Steen, whatever. I never thought he was fat. Like he's a bigger guy, but I never looked at him like, oh, he's fat. He really did look like a prize fighter to me when he said he was a prize fighter. Like he embodied that look to me. Not to mention on the mic, he's probably one of my favorite promos ever. I cannot tell you how much I've desperately missed a Kevin Owens promo. So like you can be a guy, and Bray Wyatt's another example. May he rest in peace. He was a bigger guy. I mean, hell, he literally was called Husky Harris at one time, but he moved quicker than I think Mason Rook does. And again, the promos to me were transcendent. I know promos were always kind of a controversial spot for him. Some people thought they went too long, others thought it was art, whatever. He just doesn't fit either category to me. Now, maybe he'll change things up, but if he's already 29, because I thought he was a lot younger, I was just categorically wrong about that. That was my mistake. I just feel like he's kind of set in his ways. And so I feel like really it's a weird name to compare him to, but it gives Pete Dunne vibes. It's like this is what I know, this is what got me over, this is all you're ever gonna get. And I'm just disconnected from that. And it's a shame, but I think it is what it is. So yeah, he won the tag match with Cam, but Cam pinned Miles. Cam then cut a promo like, "Oh, I'm still coming for Tony as well. I won all the championships." Mason took exception to that, laid him out.
I will
Two
say,
other,
I was just
yeah,
looking at Mason Rook's match history. He was very responsible with COVID. As soon as lockdown started, which was in March of 2020, he did not
yeah.
wrestle another match until August of 2021. He took a full, basically, year and a half off of wrestling because of COVID. And, since returning to wrestling in August of 2021, he's wrestled 189 matches.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I just gonna be very interesting to see if they really do hot shot him to the title, or if Tony D is gonna be able to push that challenge back. Um, but yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I feel like we've had enough of a conversation about Mason Rook and company, so we can move on.
I feel like we are having conversations about Mason Rook every week, and another woman, another person, I should say, that we've been having conversations about more frequently lately is Lizzie Rain, who had I believe, North American Women's Championship match this week against Tatum Paxley, and I watched it, and it was far and away Lizzie Rain's best performance in the ring so far in NXT.
I mean, I think you even said it pretty explicitly in the Discord because I know you had several notes about it. So you might even be able to talk about this more than me because I did not watch this match. But I think you even said in so many words, this is what happens when you go from, Nikita to Tatum as an opponent. Because
Yeah.
Tatum, I think, was going to bring a lot more out of it. I mean, Tatum's
Mm-hmm.
put in the fucking work. So, yeah, kudos to them both.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
Lizzie.
amazing how
Yeah.
stacked NXT's women's division is, man. It is so good.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
after losing Sol Ruka and Blake Monroe, they still have. I mean, she's injured right now, but Ariana or Adriana Rizzo is still on the roster. Ariana Grace is fantastic, and they just never use her. She's doing more in TNA than she's doing in NXT. Izzy Dame, Jada Parker, Callie Armstrong, Carmen Petrovich, Kalani Jordan, Kendall Gray, Layla Diggs isn't involved, but you could use her. We like her. Obviously, Lizzie Rain is here. I mean, it's really stacked. I mean, even I know you're not a big fan of hers, but you would still admit that she's technically sound and good in the ring. Thea Hale is another one.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
the tag match that I watched from like a week or two ago that involved Zarya. Zarya looks really good right now as a heel. She looks great. Ren Sinclair is fantastic. I know Wendy Chu is the Evolve Women's Champion, but she's another one that you could be using on NXT. Tatum is awesome. All of this talent, and they still choose to feature Nikita, and they still have the world title on Lola. It is unbelievable to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's got a lot of depth, man. It's got a lot of depth. Um, and yeah, just great outing from both. Zarya did lay out Tatum and Lizzie after the match. I really do like how they're building Zarya. I really don't know if she's gonna beat Tatum for the title or not. I guess I wouldn't mind if she did beat Tatum, but that would only be because again, I say it every fucking time. You all know what my goal is. Tatum gets called up and she wins the tag titles with Lyra, but Lyra's still with Bayley all this time later. So WWE may be like, I hear your dream and I raise you a fuck you. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I am excited for Zarya and Tatum's inevitable matchup for the title.
Yeah.
And yeah, should be good. Should be good. Let's see. Anything else important from NXT? Oh yeah, I did want to talk about these guys. Did you see this? Well, actually, no. I shouldn't ask. I know you said you really didn't watch much, but do you know about Tristan Angels and
No.
Romeo Moreno?
No.
I like these guys. I like both these guys. This was fun. Tristan Angels, great look, tall, blonde locks. He actually kind of looked like he would have been, like a cousin or something of Edge and Christian to me a little bit. So I really like his look. I'd have to look at Romeo again because I don't really have his image in my mind. I only know Tristan because he's the thumbnail of the video I'm looking at. But Shiloh Hill was kind of in the audience, like being a fan or whatever. And Tristan got annoyed by that, but then Romeo got like fired up by that. And I think somebody was at ringside for Romeo. I forget who. I've got the video muted. So oh yeah, it was Noam Dar actually. So I guess Noam Dar is coaching Romeo or something. But yeah, dude, I like Tristan Angels. He reminds me, you know who he gives me low-key vibes of if you look at this dude? Arrett Titus. I know that's like a really vague pull, but I guess I do know more wrestling history than I give myself credit for. He's primarily an ROH for those that don't know, but yeah, he low key gives me Rhett Titus vibes, and yeah, he's got height seemingly, blonde hair, like he looks like he would have succeeded in the early to mid 2000s, and now they're doing him here. His stuff looked good. Romeo sold well. I came away from that clip liking both guys, so. I would love if you'd watch the clip sometime and give me like your thoughts, on the aesthetics of these guys or how things look to you. I know you can only, know so much just from one clip, but yeah, I'm really intrigued to see more from both of these, and it's just good to see Noam back on television as well, especially in kind of like this mentor role now that Metaphor unfortunately is over. Foster, you were talking about factions. I could have had Metaphor go on forever. I loved all four of them together. That was great, and now like two of them aren't even with the company anymore. That's fucking crazy to me. So yeah, there you go. But check it out, guys, if you haven't. Again, Tristan Angels. The video title was Tristan Angels shines in his NXT debut. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I really excited about both these guys. Those could be two other people in the North American title picture, and I think that's essentially it from NXT as far as like things that I think are relevant to talk about, which just leaves SmackDown. And good God, I gotta tell you, seeing the videos from SmackDown, I'm like, I really didn't miss much at all because it seems just like the same old. It feels like SmackDown's caught in a time loop because I feel like we're doing the same crap mostly.
Every week.
Because what was that?
Every week, I said.
Every week, yeah. Because you're doing this thing. Which, like, you and I already hate Tiffany Stratton just because of, like, the MAGA politics and everything else. They're doing this thing where it seems like her and Chelsea are going to buddy-buddy. And I'm like, I feel like in WWE's mind, they're doing Chelsea the favor because Tiffany was the pet project. But, like, Chelsea is such a five-tool player. Let's not kid ourselves. She's doing Tiffany the favor.
No, but
which
remember,
is really...
according to WWE management, Chelsea is just not the type of person that you put in the main event title scene.
I don't even know. I just took a swig of water, everybody. I don't even know if that was a fucking work or if that's genuine belief or maybe a mix of both. I don't fucking know in this clown world anymore of world wrestling entertainment, but I think that's such a disservice to Chelsea, in my opinion.
Holy shit! I pulled up a clip of the Romeo Tristan match. And I just saw Romeo do a springboard splash that looked insane.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. Put those guys immediately in the North American title picture, have kind of a free for all, and Miles Bourne will have to beat all these challengers back. And again, I mean, what did you think aesthetically of Tristan Angel now that you actually watched the clip and I can talk to you about it a bit more? Because I made the Rhett Titus comparison and stuff like that.
He reminds
So what,
me of who was the tall blonde guy in Team Canada in TNA back in the day?
oh, I I know who you're talking about, but the name's not coming to me.
Was
Let
his
me,
name
let me
A1? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think it was A1 you're
He
thinking of,
looks
yeah.
like a skinny A1 to me.
Interesting. So I got Rhett Titus vibes, you got A1 vibes. Very
I think
interesting.
it's the gear that's giving me Team Canada vibes because it's all red and white like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like his one, like that backbreaker he
I get
does
the
early
Rhett
in the clip.
Titus comp though for sure, dude. I definitely see it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
though?
No,
I gotta tell you, you're pointing out Tristan. I'm kind of digging this Romeo guy a little more.
no, he's good too. Yeah, no, for sure. I was
He's
excited by both
exciting.
guys
I
running.
really like his look and his style in the ring. He low key like the way that he moves and the way that he like jumps on the ropes and even like the way that he like just went for a cover on Tristan. Low key getting Kyle O'Reilly vibes from him. Not looks wise, but movement wise.
And you know what? I'll give him the biggest compliment I think you could give somebody in NXT, especially in this wrestling landscape. I think he actually sold Tristan's offense really well.
Yeah.
So like if like the bar is so low that if you sell for me, I think you get an automatic
that
plus 10
that
for
knee
me.
drop was sick. Yeah, the finish was really cool from Tristan. That was really cool.
Yeah, Tristan, I think I like more than Romeo, but Romeo I
I
like
don't
too.
like
It's not even a
Shiloh
matter of
Hill,
just
I'll tell
like,
you that.
yeah, Shiloh Hill. He's not my cup of tea. I'll just put it
There's
that
this
way.
weird, like, uncanny valley thing going on with him where if I just glance at him briefly, he reminds me a lot of a younger Bray Wyatt.
Dude, yes.
You see it
Mm-hmm.
too?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So let's resume again with SmackDown. Oh geez, that's right, because I was
Apparently,
talking
this
about
Romeo guy is relatively tall because I'm looking here at him posing with Zack Sabre Jr. and he's a
no, that's
solid like 3 inches taller than Zack, who we know is like 6 feet even ish.
yeah.
So
Yeah. No, good
six
shit,
three,
man.
6'2", 6'3", and moves like
Honestly,
that. Like goddamn, that's a guy I'm invested in for sure.
yeah, just doing like a YouTube canvassing of NXT, which I usually do with just the product in general anymore. I think that was my favorite part, that match of my canvassing this week, because it's so rare to me, in my opinion, that you get a matchup where you like both guys in it rather than just fixating on one.
They're both
And again,
super young too, dude. Tristan Angels is only 22. Romeo Moreno is only 23.
that's what I love to hear. And by
Yeah.
the way, just to circle back to that knee drop finish, I thought that was so unique. You don't really
Yeah.
see that kind of stuff anymore. Yeah, dude, both these guys are going to be a huge success. I hope they both have North American Championship reigns at different times. Hell, maybe even Romeo could beat Tristan for it, run this match back for a title.
Yeah.
I would so be down for that.
Yeah.
So
I'm,
yeah,
I'm glad that you brought that match up because I've never heard of either one of those guys and I would have just kind of skimmed past their names in the recap. But yeah, that looked like it would have been like a really fun match. That low key, that match reminded me of something we would have seen on Evolve towards the beginning of that show's run.
yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, Chelsea's doing a thing with Tiffany. Hate it so much.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Blake Monroe was backstage on SmackDown this week, and she shot down Chelsea.
Oh God, of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was
Uh,
really funny. I love her. I love Chelsea too, but God, I just can't be mad at Blake, man.
no, you can't. She's too talented, and we all know it. Um, and Chelsea is immensely talented too, and a sweetheart to boot. I'm rooting for them both. I'm rooting for all the good, decent people in that fucking locker room because there just isn't enough. So we got Danhausen doing a mysterious experiment. I'm not even gonna go like hard on Danhausen
Another
because
one?
I guess another one. Yeah,
Oh
he's
my.
doing I am going to quote Swerve Strickland, what he said in an interview recently when Danhausen was brought up, because apparently, like, I think he's friends with him. He said, like, he's really happy for him that he's getting all these bookings and, doing all these things for WWE. He just hoped that there isn't burnout, like, learn to space him out both for himself and for crowd interest.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, like, I completely agree with Swerve. I'm not even trying to be anti Danhausen or anything. That's not about that. I just feel like we're seeing him everywhere. And it's like, relax a little bit. People were actually intrigued because apparently he had a heel run at one point, and they actually also like what he could do as a heel with the curse gimmick. I would be intrigued by that down the road, but I'm only going to care if you really space him out and you know when to use him, both as a babyface and as a heel. So we'll see. Um, Trick defeated Carmelo after Carmelo was distracted by Ricky Saints, and then Carmelo blindsided Ricky Saints. So we're doing a Carmelo Ricky Saints feud, which I'm not opposed to. Trick beating Carmelo, that I am opposed to. That I think by rushing this kind of shit, you're completely disrespecting the history they had in NXT. Like, this should have felt like a bigger deal to me because they came up together, and they did all this. Carmelo betrayed Trick, but Trick ultimately won in the end. I think he beat Carmelo, at least in NXT canon, what, 3 times? He at the very least beat him twice, because I know he beat him in that main event, at that TakeOver main event, and then he beat him in a steel cage. He might have beaten him one more time outside of that. So, I mean, I'm used to Trick having Carmelo's number. I just wish that it was treated like an actual meaningful feud rather than a throwaway. That's like, oh, these guys have history. Well, then act like it. Treat it with the respect it deserves. But I don't know. I'm an old head guy, so it's whatever. Jade Cargill standing over Rhea Ripley. I guess they had a post-match something, and Jade gets the one up. I know there was a team Cargill versus Team Ripley kind of match on Saturday night's main event. Don't know anything about the result or anything. I just know that it happened. Damian Priest and Royce Keys might be getting into something because Royce Keys laid out the MFTs, but I guess him and Damian Priest like got into something. That Damian Priest actually just grabbed him. Seemed like he was going to give him like the South of Heaven or something. So I don't know. I'm just glad to see Royce Keys doing stuff, I guess. And then finally, Cody Rhodes beats Sami Zayn. Cool. And then Gunther laid him out with the sleeper after the match. Also cool. SmackDown feels so dead and fucking lifeless to me. I don't think there's anything here worth having an extended conversation about at all. Like, unlike Raw and even NXT that have interesting talents or potentially interesting stories, SmackDown just feels like a snooze fest. So that's pretty much SmackDown. The most
I want you
worthwhile
to
thing.
know I was so unbelievably checked out of SmackDown this week. As soon as I pulled it up for my mom to be able to watch it, I grabbed a gaming device and I started playing a Game Boy Advance game, and I barely looked up at all throughout SmackDown. I'm lucky I caught Blake being on the show at all, because I genuinely, dude, being completely honest, I didn't even know about the Trick Carmelo match. I would have been more hyped for that if I knew about it, but I didn't.
You know what? You're probably better off, dude, because again, to me, it just comes off, and again, you can only know so much from freaking recaps, to be fair, so I'll hold myself to account on that. But it just feels like the whole time they've treated it like, oh yeah, this happened, we have history. Like, I just would have liked to have seen it treated with a bit more respect, so I don't think you really missed out. But yeah, that was SmackDown. I think easily the worst WWE show right now. Which is a shame because I have a soft spot for SmackDown from the Ruthless Aggression era and even the Land of Opportunity era, which, I mean, that had Jinder Mahal as WWE champion, but I still really like that era conceptually for them trying to elevate mid-card guys. This era sucks. I can't wait for it to be over, but then I don't even know if the next one would be even better so long as TKO is in charge and calling the shots. And AI calling the shots, apparently, which, that's just tremendous. So, didn't even touch AEW at all this week. Do you have any other wrestling stuff you would like to talk about?
Um, I don't think so. No.
Wonderful. Then we can get to the favorite segment of this show every goddamn week, politics. Because, of course,
Wahoo!
exactly the energy, friend. So I've been a bit pissed off personally this week because not once but twice I've had a friend of mine share quotes from Trump that either like weren't real, like he just never said it, or it was a misattribution Like, it was extracted from something that he did say, whatever. So I'm gonna start actually with a lesson. We all need, and this includes me, because sometimes I've posted things without reading full context. I think we've all done it in this social media age. But God, our media literacy needs to be on fucking point right now. Because fascists thrive off of disinformation. We don't need to fucking help them out. So yeah, that kind of irked me. But on to actual news. Strait of Hormuz is still closed, and there doesn't seem to be any plan to reopen it because the U.S.'s demands are absurd. I actually feel like Iran's demands are reasonable after being fucked with, even though they didn't fucking do anything. They want reparations. They want it to be recognized that they have authority over the Strait of Hormuz, which they already do if they're able to shut it down the way that they have. And by recognizing that authority, that would mean going forward that the U.S. would pay a tax to use the strait. Keep in mind, we didn't pay a tax before. We only do that now because these fascists thought that they could carpet bomb Iran into being a failed state, which might still happen. But Iran is still a region in the Middle East holding out. So that strait is still closed. I'm hearing speculation that strikes may resume soon. I know Kyle Kowinski, aka Secular Talk, who you guys know, he's one of my primary media people that I go to. He said that he feels like it may pick up after June because June, and I can't believe I'm saying this fucking sentence, is when they're doing the UFC event outside the White House. And so they may want the good press for that, and then you go back to the bombings or whatever. I hate it here so fucking much, you guys don't have any fucking idea. However, the good news, fucking progressive Democrats. That's a good label to use. Progressive Democrats keep winning. They keep polling popularly. And in fact, the best one among them, Zoran Mamdani, got another win for New York City this week because his administration claims that it has recovered more than $9 million in Amazon idling fines. Wouldn't you fucking know it? And you know who's really not hurting for that? Amazon, because they're a multi-billion-dollar fucking corporation. And in fact, according to the post that DBK shared, thank you, DBK, Amazon is worth $2 trillion, according to Mamdani's team. So, yeah, that's just great. Again, shows that if you do slightly progressive policies, it benefits everybody. So imagine what full-on socialism could fucking achieve. Other news, I know that Superblue posted a horrifying story that Utah is in a drought emergency, but simultaneously they've approved the construction of a billionaire's data center, which we know fucking sucks up water, and then the water that comes back is contaminated and polluted, which actually leads to another story. The EPA has eased kind of regulations and limits on 4 PFAS chemicals that are in the water. And I'm telling you, and other people have pointed this out, this is to make sure that corporations can't be held to account when they're giving everybody fucking cancer. It is so disgusting right now what's happening in the environment and people. Not to mention already, we talked about this like a month ago, but the glyphosate restrictions and those limits being eased. So, that's a pesticide being sprayed on food. They want to make money and they want to watch people they think are beneath them die. It's really not that complicated. You don't have to read the tea leaves to know how these psychopaths operate. So there was that. That was a big thing. Marine scientists continue to be concerned about El Nino because there is a surge in ocean temperature. Super El Nino. That is going to be devastating to food webs and just ecological systems. They feel like a lot of marine life might be compromised and take a few years to recover, if they even recover with a regime like this that's just so anti-environment. It's fucking insane. So that also happened. And when that hits, it's going to be just really, really fucking rough. Let's see what other stories. I know you said you had some stuff that you felt like you could talk about. Have I brought any of that stuff up already, or would you like to share something?
Dude,
Maybe I haven't brought up yet.
to talk about. I got a lot.
A lot, huh? Well, that's new.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tempted to just cede the floor to you. I guess the only other thing I would talk about, which is just just a bit of lighthearted story. I'll give you guys a cookie because I know it's like piss rain every fucking week in this segment, and I wish it wasn't. Fetterman got fucking cooked by somebody like in his inner circle. So it was reported from New York Magazine that last summer he called a meeting. So let me just quote this excerpt in full because this is insane. Because Fetterman is just a piece of shit. And that would be John Fetterman, senator from PA, to be crystal clear for anybody that doesn't know who this guy is. He had a stroke, and the stroke made him more conservative. We were all excited about him because he was was a progressive, and I genuinely think the stroke made him conservative. And he is one of the biggest Israel simps in fucking government. Because he is Israel all the way. They did a referendum on the Iran war, whether to end it, and he was the one Democratic vote that's like, no, let it continue. Israel needs to bomb them more. So let me just read this excerpt from New York Mag. The blowback Fetterman has received from Democratic voters has fueled the rumors that he might switch parties. I mean, he's already a Republican. Why not? His net approval rating among Pennsylvania Democrats has dropped 108 points since 2023, from plus 68 to minus 40, according to CNN. Hooked. It's a massive swing. In fact, damn, I've never heard you laugh like that. That is something. Oh, it's a massive swing. Oh, if you're laughing now, wait till you hear the rest of this. And Fetterman has had trouble adjusting. Last summer, so I'm taking that this means summer of either 2025 or maybe 2024. I don't know how. I'm guessing this article was recent, so I'm guessing 2025. He called a rare meeting with senior staff to ruminate about his political future. The presidency still intrigued him. Four staffers say he used to openly talk about running for president, but it had been a bruising few months. He floated something more realistic: vice president on the Democratic Party's 2028 presidential ticket. Almost all of us had our jaws on the floor. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? You don't do your job, you can't raise any money, and your entire party hates you. I love this. The amount of happiness that this gave me, I know damn well is unhealthy, but I don't give a shit. He deserves this. He doesn't deserve a political future after this. Senator is going to be the limit of what he achieves. You betrayed your constituents. And see, I'm a fool too, okay? Because, just to show you guys I'm not fucking perfect for all my commie rhetoric, I've been taken in twice the last couple years. Once by Bernie Sanders, because I really didn't like how he handled, Israel Gaza, and I really didn't like how quickly he capitulated to Biden when everybody ganged up against him in 2020. I think he should have used his political capital for more leverage, and he did not. So Bernie was one that the scales kind of fell from my eyes, but Fetterman was personal for me because I really sympathized with him after his stroke. Because you guys know I have cerebral palsy. I'm in the disability community. I know a lot of you have disabilities, which I love you all so fucking much. And it's hard out here for us, right? Because society is deeply, deeply fucking ableist. Fox News had ableist rhetoric leading up to Fetterman's race when he was going against Dr. Oz, who still won in the end anyway, because now he's the head of fucking Medicaid and Medicare, because nothing makes fucking sense anymore. And they were ableist to him, and it just screamed eugenic language, like, oh, he's unfit, mentally weak, all this stuff. My heart went out to him. Truly. He wins. I thought it was beautiful. I'm like, man, what a blow to ableism, this and that. And then you go and you suck the same boot that said all that foul, vile shit to you. Fuck you, John Fetterman. I'm so happy you lost. Lost your dreams, I should say, because he is still a senator. But I don't think he's winning re-election. I think he is so far beyond fucking cooked that his only hope would be to switch parties to have any kind of political future. And even then, I don't think he would even survive even then, because we talk all the time about how the Democratic base, the voters, are done with Israel, but so are Republican voters. But they're not as done maybe on the whole as Democrats, but you're losing Republican voters too, because a lot of Republican voters are like Southern or Midwestern, they're rural. And a lot of rural people are seeing the fucking gas prices and the food prices go up, and Israel still gets subsidized, their economy, their society. And they're thinking, what the fuck? So you're losing Republicans too. You're in no man's land, you bulbous bitch. You've got no prospects after this. Just like your marriage with your wife leaving you, your dreams have fucking left you, which apparently that was a thing that happened, because I guess after the stroke and him being so conservative, his own wife didn't even recognize who he was, because that's not the man she fell in love with. She fell in love with the fucking progressive, which in a way, I could feel bad for Fetterman that way, because he didn't ask for a fucking stroke. But I mean, Jesus Christ, I would have thought somebody in his inner circle would have been like, you're betraying, you're like, this isn't you. You fundamentally changed. This is awful. And that's story of John Fetterman, everybody. A guy that really fucking thought he could be president being this fucking underwater. Insane. You know what? I hope he runs just to fucking weed out the rest of the fucking horrible candidates, and maybe we get somebody fucking decent. But that I think is going to be the last thing I talk about. You said you had a lot in your queue, so I'm actually going to let you take the floor while I moisten my mouth with some water. I'm going to be a hydro homie while you take it away. So all you, bud.
Yeah, I have a lot because I pay a lot of attention to elections. And we actually had some primary elections happen this week, and the fallout of those primary elections both is and could prove to be very interesting. This was the week that Thomas Massey officially found out that he is not going to have a job going into next year. Um, Thomas Massey is somebody who has been really leading the charge to get the Epstein files released. It's been Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna have been the main people in Congress putting forth actual legislation to try and basically force the administration to release the Epstein files. And Thomas Massey is a Republican. And because he did this, Donald Trump railed against him and threw his endorsement behind his opponent in the primary, Ed Galbraith, and so did AIPAC. And this was one of the most expensive primaries in the history of the country. AIPAC blew like $30 million on Ed Galbraith to get him elected, and it worked because, of course, it did. And so now Ed Galbraith is the Republican nominee in, I want to say it's the 4th district in Kentucky. I don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure on the district. That could be wrong. But regardless, the main idea is that Thomas Massey knows now that his current outlook as a member of the House of Representatives, that his job ends at the end of the year, basically. At the end of this year, he is no longer going to be in the House. And between him and I'm trying to remember who the other guy was.
Gulrin or
Who
something, I know was his last name, right? Because
you're
that was his
talking about the
opponent.
guy that beat Massey? I'm trying. There was another guy who lost his primary that Trump railed
Oh,
against.
yeah, apologies. All right.
Um, oh God, Google is failing me hard here. I want to say it was an Andrew something. I don't remember though.
While you're figuring it out, let me just pick up the baton just real quick to say while you're searching and trying to get that name. I really think Thomas Massey after this because he had a much bigger crowd. You could tell that like Israel stole this election for Galbraith and everything, and Trump. Um, I think Thomas Massey could be this generation's Ron Paul. Like if he just went full libertarian, I think he'd have pretty much like a cult following for his whole career because I think people
So
really did respect him for his principle. Did you find the name?
no, I didn't, but I did want to just respond to you because there's actually a sore loser law in Kentucky that says that if you lose a primary, you're not allowed to run third party.
Wow.
Yeah. So if he wanted to run at all, he would have to run a write-in campaign, which he could legally do.
He might do that. I don't know how I feel about that law. I think I hate it actually. Just but that's my immediate reaction. I would have to think more about it. That seems really anti-democratic and stupid. But regardless, yeah, I feel like he's got a political future in a similar vein to a Ron Paul, where people will look at him as like the principled Republican. But it's crazy because just one more thing about Massey while you're still
Found it.
searching for that name. Oh, okay, good. Just so I'll just finish up and then I'll
Yeah.
hand it back to you. According to Kyle, he voted with the Trump admin 91% of the time. Like the big breakaways were Israel and Epstein, but that was enough to your point, as you said at the beginning. Like Trump
Mm-hmm.
didn't like that. It's either 100% loyalty or get fucked. But anyway, you found the name. Please continue.
The other name is Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy was the other big name who was like on Trump's shit list, who voted to convict Trump in 2021 after January 6th. And Trump railed against him, endorsed his opponent, and he lost his primary in Louisiana. Um, Another instance of this, actually, that hasn't fully played out yet, but is going to over the next few days, is Ken Paxton and John Cornyn in the Senate. We've actually talked about this already on this show, where if John Cornyn is the Republican nominee, he's far more likely to beat James Tallarico in the general than Ken Paxton, but I think it was actually just this past Tuesday, Ken Paxton was endorsed by Donald Trump officially, which increases his odds of winning the primary pretty significantly. And he was already favored to win the primary without any endorsements at all. And there was actually even odds that if Trump endorsed Cornyn, there was still a chance Paxton could win the primary. So Trump endorsing Paxton makes it very likely that Paxton's winning the primary. And assuming he does, not only is Paxton less likely to win the state, the Senate job that he's vying for, meaning Texas could go blue, James Tallarico could be the first U.S. senator from Texas since the 90s. But the Cornyn staffers, I don't know exactly how to phrase this, but like the people on Cornyn's, like in his camp, did some research and they did some polling of their own, and they've basically found that there are anywhere from like 5 to 8 seats that are up for grabs in the Texas State House that could swing Republican to Democrat simply with Paxton being the nominee instead of Cornyn because of lower voter enthusiasm and less voter turnout. And this is actually something that we're seeing across the board. The district that voted for Ed Galbraith over Todd Massey actually had below average turnout in the state of Kentucky. Can you believe that? It's not that
Yeah.
these people are excited to vote Trump's enemies out. It's actually the opposite. It's the exact opposite. It's that nobody's excited to go to the polls and vote for Thomas Massey. Like, Thomas Massey is still a piece of shit, and no one's excited to vote for him. But
Yeah.
Trump's MAGA base is fucking feral. And so when he tells his most loyal people to do something, they're willing to do it. But then the problem is the people who aren't part of his base, if a more moderate Republican doesn't end up on the ballot, they just don't show up to the polls then. So if we end up with Ken Paxton being the nominee in Texas, there are a lot of people who would have voted for John Cornyn who either won't show up to vote at all, which means that all of your down ballot Republicans are losing out on votes as well. Or there are even some of them who are going to vote for James Tallarico from a moral standpoint because they just can't stand Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton, I don't know if you know this, John, but Ken Paxton is a loathsome human being along similar lines to Trump. He has all kinds of
Yeah.
scandals behind him. Like his ex-wife, I don't even know if ex, maybe even current wife, I don't even know for sure if he's divorced, but his wife or ex-wife, whoever it was, actually came out against him as a candidate. That's how bad of a human being this man is. And he's almost definitely going to win the nomination, I should say. And it's genuinely, when he does, it's the odds of James Tallarico winning Texas are going to go up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I bring up odds in the first place is because I really wanted to talk about a lot of these Senate race odds, because I'm looking at a map right now that I made based on my opinion, based on what I expect to happen.
Yeah.
And so I do think that Ken Paxton is going to get nominated, which means that I do think that James Tallarico is winning Texas. I think that Mary Peltola is winning Arkansas or Alaska. I think John Ossoff is going to keep his spot in Georgia. I think is it Roy Cooper in North Carolina, I want to say. I
Yeah,
think he's
Roy
going to win
Cooper,
the
because
Senate
Roy
spot.
Moore's that piece of shit Republican. So yeah, probably Roy Cooper.
Actually, Roy Moore, I think, is the governor of Maryland.
Oh dear God.
Is it?
Because
No,
I
that's
know.
Wesley. That's Westmore. That's Westmore. That's my bad.
Okay, so I
No,
was.
you're right.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think Roy Moore was the piece of shit Republican that was like an outed pedophile and still almost won an
Yes.
election in Tennessee after getting outed.
Dude, Republicans were so fucking sleazy with that too, because
Yeah.
when those allegations came out, they tried to like save face with Moore by having a child interview him. And then being like,
Oh
"Oh,
God.
look how restrained he is with the child, and look at what a tender interview. How could that guy be?" I swear to God, people just, you know what, I'm not going to get into it. This is your
So
time. Please continue.
your senator, I want to say it's Jean Shaheen, is retiring, and her
Yes.
spot is almost definitely still going to go to a Democrat. I believe his name is Pappas or Pappas.
Yeah.
So New Hampshire's going to stay Dem. Graham Plattner's winning Maine. There's no doubt in my mind at this
Oh,
point.
he's cooking, dude.
Yeah.
Graham Plattner is fucking cooking everybody.
I do think that El Said is going to win Michigan.
Yeah.
I think Sherrod Brown is going to win Ohio. And
Interesting. Yeah.
maybe most importantly, I think Dan Osborne's winning Nebraska, man. I really do.
Interesting. Okay.
And if all of those things happen, even if all of the other sort of like projected red states stay projected red, that would give Democrats 52 seats in the Senate, which is a Fetterman-proof majority, plus Dan Osborne, who might not caucus with them, but would still be more likely to vote with them than Republicans. So you could make an argument that it's more of a 53 Democrat seat lead over the Republicans to 47. So really, it would be 52, 1, and 47 with Dan Osborne as an independent being the one. But Dan Osborne, from a morality standpoint, is closer to the Democrats than he is to the Republicans. So if you want to flatten things out as much as you possibly can, it would be 53 Dems to 47 Republicans.
Can I just add something to this conversation that intrigues
Yeah,
me?
please do.
So I had watched a video from Kyle because really it's just like he documents other stuff.
To
So
be
really
fair,
this came
I
from
did
CNN.
have one other state I wanted to look at before we move on. I'm
Oh,
curious where
well,
you're going
yes,
with this.
please.
I wanted to look
No,
at Iowa.
oh, okay. So what's going on in Iowa?
So in Iowa, there are currently two Democrats vying for their nomination. It's Josh Turek and Zach Walz. And Josh Turek is more of like a moderate Dem. He has
Yeah.
already won. Like he is already actively in the Iowa State House of Representatives, and he won that job in a red district. Like he's already in a Republican district and he won as a Democrat. And that's pretty much what he's running on. Is basically like I am a Democrat who won in a red county, which means that I'm electable, which means that you can count on me to beat the Republicans in the Senate, right? And then you've got Zach Walz, who I would not call progressive, but he is further left than Turek. He is the better nominee, at least in my opinion,
Yeah.
but he has a job. He is a member of the Iowa State Senate, and he has represented two different districts in his career since 2019, and they have been deep blue districts inside of Iowa. So he doesn't really have a track record of being able to consistently beat Republicans in red areas. So you know the question of how electable is he is still kind of up in the air. But from a policy standpoint, I do think that he's better. He is more pro Medicare for all. He is more pro immigration. Like Turek was one of three Democrats in 2024 to vote for an Iowa state law making it a state crime for certain deported non-citizens to return to Iowa, and I just think that's really gross.
Yes.
Um, both of them are agree that the filibuster needs to be altered, but Walz is the only one who wants to completely end the filibuster. Turek wants to quote unquote reform it. So that gives you a good idea of like who these guys are. Turek is
Yeah.
like the more moderate Dem. Walz is the more progressive Dem. He's not necessarily a fully progressive politician. Like he's not necessarily for Medicare for all. He's for expansion of Medicare. Whereas Turek is more about just expanding the ACA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and unfortunately, if you look at the polling, Turek is currently in the lead of polling of their primary. You know, like within the last week, there was a poll of 672 likely voters, and Turek is apparently in the lead. So he's more likely to win this. I will say, just about any Democrat is still better than just about any Republican in these races.
Yes.
Obviously, we would prefer further left. The further left we can go, the better. But this is still Iowa we're talking about. Like, this is Iowa. This is like one of the most conservative states outside of the deep South in the country. Like, you've got the deep South, and then you've got like the middle of the country with like Nebraska and Kansas, and then you've got like the boonies out west of the Midwest, out in like Montana and the Dakotas and Idaho and stuff. and then it's Iowa. Like Iowa's next in line as far as the most conservative states in the country. Um, and Turek looks like he might be getting the nomination. But the reason I bring this up is because if Turek can get the nomination, and if he, as somebody who's won in a red district already, can flip Iowa blue, then not only would we have a Fetterman-proof majority for the Dems, but we are building towards something that in 2028 could potentially be supermajority.
Yeah.
Which means that if we do manage to get an actual decent presidential candidate in 2028, somebody who actually wants to make change, somebody like a Ro Khanna or an AOC, if they have the support of a blue house and a supermajority of Democrats in the state Senate, or in the Senate, I shouldn't have said state there, we're looking at a revolution. And I mean, like, not like a full revolution, like we're switching from capitalism to communism, but like a revolution in the context of this country, in this world, where we're going from basically like rugged individualism for the poor, socialism for the rich, to maybe we get a little more socially democratic and democratic socialism going on for the rest of us.
Yeah, and we would need it. We would need a sustained. And then I want to get back to the point that I wanted to bring up about the data myself, but
Yeah.
I just want to answer what you said here. We would need a sustained social democratic program. Obviously I don't think that goes far enough, but looking at what we have, we would need to sustain that. I would think for at least a decade to recover from the damage here. I don't think people are talking enough about the cuts to certain vital institutions, the austerity, which again is cuts of like pension, healthcare, stuff like that. That's what we mean when we say austerity. Pretty much cutting holes in the social safety net. The beating so much of, again, our institutions, our welfare, whatever has taken, you would need a sustained social democratic program, I think, for a decade to fully recover it and get extra mileage beyond that. But then again, hey, if they all acted like Zoran, maybe the recovery wouldn't take nearly as much time, because you would know where to put the fucking money. So let's hope. And another thing would be if we had such a sustained program, I feel like the Overton window would be stabilized because I swear the shit that we've normalized as far as public discourse is insane. We need to get back to telling people that their opinions are fucking stupid again when they're on their racist or sexist bullshit. For real. Like, just so much to do. But to respond to the data point, because I found this very interesting from Kyle. Now, essentially with Kyle, he is a reactor. So really, I have to give credit to CNN here, and I have to give credit to their guy that does the data segments. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but this was very interesting. So he talked about Democrats' leads in choice for Congress, and these were their margin in percentage points. So the margin of their lead based on certain publications. New York Times had them at a 10 point lead. Marist, I've never heard of that publication, but they had them at 10 points. Washington Post had them at 5. Fox had them at 5. And CNN had them at 3. Now, that's important because depending on which numbers are correct, which is why polling is always like a very complicated and difficult thing, as we learned in 2016, and I think again in 2024, if the poll lead, national pointage is only 3 points, they would only pick up 0 to 6 House seats. Now, if it's 10 points, so if like Washington Post, actually no, excuse me, New York Times and Marist were correct, they could pick up 20 to 30 or more. So we would hope that the polling would be on the higher side, that that's actually reflective of reality.
Are you
Now,
familiar with the polling company that it was the most accurate in the 2020 and 2024 elections?
I know we've talked about that before, but in this moment I'm blanking. I don't
Okay,
know.
so it was Atlas Intel that was the most
Yeah.
accurate in 2020 and 2024,
Yeah.
and they haven't put out a poll in the last like week or two, I want to say, but the last poll that they did put out, they had Dems leading by like 16 points, dude.
Damn. Then if they are correct and if that holds, because again, we still have a ways away before
That,
November.
what you just said right there is my absolute biggest concern, because it doesn't matter if Dems are ahead by 30 points right now.
Yeah.
If the administration finds a way to turn things around in the final hour, if they manage to get gas prices in a very obvious downward swing in October, and maybe even get them like under $4 an hour or $4 a gallon by election day in November, that advantage for Democrats gets shrunken down to next to nothing. Because I promise you, no matter how much civil unrest there is this spring, it's not going to matter if things are looking up by November. The country is a slave to the moment.
Yes. No, you're 1,000% right about that. You and I have talked about this multiple times. How historical memory in this country is tragically fucking short.
Yeah.
And I've already said, because of our white supremacist roots and everything, and just how systemic racism is, as long as gas prices and groceries were kept stable, nobody would give a shit about the ICE concentration camps. I don't even know how many people would even care about data center. I think that's going to become more of a concern when people see for themselves the ecological damage, especially the polluted water. I know AOC did a great hearing with an EPA official talking about the drinking water. I forget what
It was in
town and
Georgia.
what state it was. Georgia, and it looked fucking filthy. So like,
That's
yeah,
underselling it. It looked like it was basically swamp water. It looked disgusting.
yeah, it
And
was
it
vile,
was out of their
vile.
well. It was out of their well that they're supposed to be using to get showers with and drinking water and cleaning their dishes and like can you imagine like they have been forced to resort to bottled water to I mean drinking bottled water is not unreasonable, but they've been forced to resort to bottled water for shit like washing their dishes, cleaning themselves, brushing their teeth, like the most simple of shit, like even like boiling water in order to make noodles. They need to empty out bottles of water. That shit gets fucking expensive too.
And that's just, I'm so glad you said it at the end because bottled water, you mean water you pay for and don't have natural access to?
Exactly.
Like, I fucking hate capitalism. Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Yeah. I almost have to wonder how many of these tech bros and these fuckers that are pushing these data centers on people have stocks in Nestle and the company that owns Aquafina and Dasani. It's like Coke and Pepsi and all this shit, fucking smart water and all this garbage. Yeah, yeah. How much invested are you in bottled water to the point that you're actively invested in making those prices go up and making people have to pay for it?
Thank you for asking the right fucking questions because that's so important. That's so important because we already know that the CEO of Nestle, who by the way is 1,000% pro child labor, because we've heard those horror stories
Dude,
too, as far as the cocoa farms and
I think
everything
the
else.
CEO of Nestle is pro evil. I really don't think that they would make a difference. Like, I don't think that they would necessarily differentiate between types of evil. They're just like, oh, you want to know if I'm pro something? Is it evil? Yeah, I'm pro it. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, the CEO straight up came out and said water shouldn't be a human right.
Yeah.
How that
I mean,
person
if
gets
somebody
the
arrives at the
yeah,
conclusion that water shouldn't be a human right, the logical next step is breathable air shouldn't be a human right. And we're literally talking about the Lorax.
exactly. I've been telling my family more recently, like the ultimate dream of a billionaire is to figure out how to privatize air. And
Yeah.
don't tell me that they're not fucking
Well,
trying
it's
even
not
now.
that
Like,
hard. All you got to do is poison and pollute the air that we currently have and find a way to make a sustainable source of it that you can privatize. There you fucking go. There's your answer.
exactly. This system's fucking disgusting. It's dehumanizing and it's ecocidal. Like it's literally
Yep.
making the environment uninhabitable for human beings. So yeah, we not only need a blue wave because like that's the thing. Ashton and I, to be crystal fucking clear to anybody listening, we're not blue MAGA, right? Like I feel like nobody should be. You shouldn't just settle for any Democrat.
You
But
know what though? To be fair, like I've met some people that are like obsessively vote blue no matter who. And even then, I don't think I would call them blue MAGA because even if they are vote blue no matter who, it's never without reason. It's never like to the point of vote blue no matter who because it's like the only so like I don't know how to describe it. It's like to me MAGA it's blind faith. But like if you're vote blue no matter who in my mind it's because you're trying to push the country further left. Like
yeah,
even the most conservative Democrat is still more left than the most liberal conservative, the most liberal Republican. Like
yeah.
I'm who are we calling the most liberal Republican nowadays? Rand Paul at this point?
Yeah, Rand Paul, I guess, again, because of his recent capital with Israel and Epstein, Thomas Massey, I think, has gotten a few points with liberals. But again, he voted with the Trump admin
Dude,
91% of the time.
yeah, like
So,
Thomas Massey is like he is like the perfect MAGA piece of shit. He just happens to care about not raping kids, I guess.
Yeah, which I mean, you're in a disgusting
You'd think
party.
that would be the bare minimum.
Yeah, you're in a disgusting party when even that bar can't be cleared by every Republican because the Republicans were like, "Well, I wanted to marry a child," and like it's like, what the fuck? You've got Republicans open, and that's what I mean about the Overton window. When I said that earlier, you have got Republicans that are able to just say openly without any consequence, teen pregnancies are too low, and that's a problem.
Well, dude, that's
What
that's
the
why vote
fuck?
blue no matter who exists, because Republican voters have been vote red no matter who for so fucking long now. That's how you shift the Overton window. Like if everyone who has ever considered voting Democrat and decided not to because their candidate wasn't perfectly aligned with their values was vote blue no matter who, the Overton window would be further left by now.
I would hope that you're right because, and look, I'm a dyed in the wool fucking commie ever since I was radicalized all those years ago because of the Apple factory abuses. I just brunch liberals fucking annoy the shit out of me, and I just worry that if we got that blue wave, people would lax their vigilance about things that we should still
Yeah,
be vigilant about.
dude, here's the thing. I agree with
Yeah.
you to a certain degree. When you say
Yeah.
brunch liberals, though, what I think of is people who only want to vote until it allows them to not think about politics anymore. And that is
Right, to be
not
insulated.
that is
Yeah.
not vote blue no matter who, though. Vote blue no matter who are hardcore voters who will go to the polls every single time to vote Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. And like another thing too, and I think this is more in line with 28, but if we got a Dem president, because I agree with Lefman because we've been through it for so many fucking years. Like I'm only 34 and I'm so tired. But like I really have to wonder how many actual Trump policies because I just think about a guy like Pritzker, right? And we even talked about this like a month ago on the show that they think they're cute when they're like, "Oh, abolish Trump's ICE," but we know the language games you're playing. Like we
Yeah,
hear that.
yeah.
So I'm just saying, look, I'm not saying don't vote Dem, quite the opposite. If you especially if you have a genuinely progressive candidate on your ticket, vote for them. Hell, I'd even say if you could canvass for them, please, for the love of God. I am just saying that even if we get our blue wave, we need to keep being vigilant. We need to keep doing politics outside of the ballot box, again, building community, strengthening and bolstering mutual aid, because the US, even if we get the blue wave, this is not the same country, even though it was like in the wake of COVID, even. I feel like we have changed so drastically, both on the international stage and domestically. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And I just need us all to be ready for that marathon. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting times. I mean, we are in times where we're seriously talking about AOC running for president in 2028. And I think
And
she could fucking win.
no, yeah,
Like,
that like that to me. The reason that I'm considering, and we this is even this week too. The reason that I
yeah,
am starting to lean more towards the idea that AOC might run is because she is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, yes, but she represents a district in New York, right? And I don't think that there's ever going to be a risk of a data center, or what is they called? Not a data center. Is it a data? Yeah, a data center being built in New York fucking city and ruining people's water. That's not a real thing. But she goes to Georgia and talks to this older couple about their water quality and learns about their lives and then puts that on social media and then goes and does this hearing where she uses the jar of water that she got from them to grill this EPA woman. Like, this all feels like a publicity stunt to set her up to run for president, because if she wasn't interested in running for a national office, why is she going to Georgia? She works for the people of New York.
exactly. No, she's going for it all.
Not
She's
to
going
mention the
for it all.
fighting
Yeah.
oligarchy tour she did with Bernie.
Yes. Yes. And what concerns me though, if she runs, because we've talked about some of the concerns that I think are already obvious, the racism, the sexism, stuff like that. What really concerns me though, and we haven't talked about this enough, establishment Dems are going to be so mum about her. The same way Cory Booker, for example, was mum about Mamdani. And he's like, oh, I got to focus on New Jersey. I'm not concerned with New York. Like, I feel
Dude,
like, yeah, what's up?
I just I think she might be in with the establishment enough that it might not happen to her. I don't know.
Dude, You know what? I hear you. I don't want to dismiss that. I do hear you because you already know I kind of keep AOC at a distance, mainly on
Yeah.
foreign policy. So I hear you. But I also just feel like, and I don't know, maybe you think I'm being out of pocket. I just feel like it would be a world where Hillary would be invited on fucking CNBC, and she'd be like, "Oh well, she's just gotta, be mindful of the rhetoric. Billionaires aren't our enemies and shit like that." And I can see it, dude. I can see it, and it's just, I fucking hate this party because I feel like if we had a real opposition party, like the crazy thing is, dude, left populism fucking wins. We know that from Graham Plattner. We know that
Oh
from
my god,
Mamdani. It
dude.
fucking
You
wins.
just reminded me the fucking autopsy was released this week.
Oh my god, yes. And dude, they didn't even have the fucking balls to mention Gaza and
They
Israel.
didn't they didn't mention Gaza and Israel at all. But the interesting thing is that I think that they are listening to the autopsy report and it's fucking working because like the main takeaway that I think that the Democratic Party took away from this autopsy was that they need to come off more like real Americans and like real working class people and relate more to the working class. And look at the crop of candidates we have right now. James
Yeah.
Tallarico, Graham Plattner, Mary Peltola, Sherrod Brown, El Said in Michigan. Like, we've got a whole new crop of genuinely great Senate candidates who feel more like real people that can relate to people in their, like, it feels like they might have even learned a good lesson, even if they didn't necessarily learn the correct one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Well, because, and again, like, that's the thing. Like,
Have
left
you heard Graham Plattner
populism,
speak yet, by the way?
I've heard it like a few speeches, but I haven't heard him
Dude,
recently.
he has an 11 out of 10 voice. I could listen to that man talk for hours.
Yeah, dude. He's so personable. He's got this ruggedness that's like relatable, especially
Yes.
because it is Maine, which is part of New England, and like
Yep.
ruggedness is like part of our
He's
geographic identity,
he's
I feel
been an
like.
oyster farmer for like a decade. I love him.
Yeah,
And
dude.
dude, people are scared that he's gonna be like another Fetterman. But like Fetterman had a stroke and it fucked his brain up and it turned him conservative. And plus, like, even going back to before Fetterman wanted to run for Senate, there was like shit of him online siding with Israel, apparently. And that's not a thing with Plattner. Like, you can literally, Graham Plattner's entire Reddit history is up, and he literally has posts where he refers to himself as a communist, even if it isn't
Yeah,
like,
and then the
like,
establishment devs were like making their heads about that. He had like an ACAB Reddit post, and I'm like, based. Like, and the establishment devs are like, oh my god, where's the decency? Fuck your decency, fuck your civility.
dude,
People are dying.
I love he he and Tallarico are such fucking unicorn candidates. It is
Dude,
wild.
but like, if that was the fucking party, do
Yeah.
you realize like how much mentally healthy I would be with domestic politics? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Because I also feel like when you do policies like this, because here's the thing, again, I am in primarily left-wing spaces. I'm in such left-wing spaces. I probably associate more with fucking Maoists and Marxist-Leninists than I do actual liberals.
Yeah.
And I know they've said like their problem with social democracy is you would still see U.S. imperialism, you would still see the exploitation of the global South. But I'm not so sure about that because,
You know what
like,
though? I guess in my mind, if we can't fight every battle at once, and if we can win the battle of converting our capitalist society into more of a social democracy, and we just win that battle and we just make it so that we aren't constantly fighting to fucking survive, then we'll have more energy to fight for the rights of people around the fucking world and stop our government from doing imperialistic shit.
and not only that, but the governments around the world, as is evidenced by Iran. And by the way, actually, I just need to take the ball back real quick for another
Yeah.
international story because I do
Yeah.
want to talk about this. There are protests in Bolivia right now. They've shut down the
Ooh.
government. Workers have just shut down the neoliberal government because I think it was hand in hand with like Trump stuff and maybe some Israel stuff. And there's been like, they're not being taken care of. There's financial corruption. There's also environmental stuff, much like Iran. I'm telling you, the environmental stuff, y'all, that is going to color our politics so much in the next like 5 years, even. It's going to be fucking insane. Like, I'm even wondering because of these data centers, that climate change was such a low rank issue among voters for years. But I'm really wondering if it's going to start climbing the list in like the next I'd even say 3 election cycles. So that
Yeah.
spaces it out like several years. It's going to go up. Inevitably, it's going to go up.
Yep.
And that's why I think an AOC or just a left populist would be exciting, because we need a Green New Deal. Even if, like, you would
Another,
come to me and you would, no, what's up?
I was just gonna say another potential like further left candidate that is probably going to win their Senate seat this year that could run for president in 2028 is John Ossoff out of Georgia.
That's, I've heard of Ossoff. Yeah, seems solid. But,
He's
like,
nowhere near as exciting. Like
yeah,
he's maybe more exciting than he's well, okay, just to be clear, he's definitely more exciting than Gavin Newsom. But what I was originally going to say is he's
yeah.
maybe more exciting than Pete Buttigieg, but he's not as exciting as like a Ro Khanna or an AOC.
No, and that's the thing. Like, I really want a Democratic Party. I'd also love, like, a fucking unicorn that shits money out of its ass. But I would love a Democratic Party that does identity politics, but does identity politics materially. Like, I don't care if the candidate in and of themselves is trans or black or gay. Like, that would be cool. But, like, if materially your identity politics is, we're going to make healthcare accessible for trans people. If your identity politics materially is, we're going to defund the police and reinvest in predominantly black communities so they can care for each other and do community building. That's the fucking identity politics I believe in. Because you say Pete Buttigieg, I feel like he really thought he was going to have a lot of political capital being like, I'm gay. And I'm sure for a lot of gay people that is inspiring. Like, I know Kamala being VP was inspiring for people, but, like, and again, this is the communist in me, and this is also like the dirtbag leftist in me. I don't give a shit. Like, I want material identity politics that takes care of these communities fundamentally and isn't just this, like, bare bones representation.
Yeah.
The party is definitely changing because people wanted to change. And to go back to just what I wanted to say, just to finish this thought about a Green New Deal, it's even just sensible fiscally. Like, even if somebody was like, which would be a stupid thing to say to me, but if somebody hypothetically was like, I don't care about the environment, fuck the animals, whatever, fine, okay, that's wrong. But the fiscally, it's important to, dude, every country, I feel like, is adopting renewable energy now. We are getting left behind on this, and now renewable energy is just cheaper than fucking oil. Like, it's more cost effective to go renewable with how much its popularity has exploded, and that's been accelerated by the Strait of Hormuz being closed and people having to pay taxes and shit because they realize, oh shit, oil's not going to be around forever. This thing that we took for granted and got in a rhythm with for decades and decades and decades, it just got upended. But you know what you can't fucking monopolize? The fucking sun. So let's invest more in solar. Let's invest more in wind. And countries are doing it. We need a green revolution so bad, even if you just want to talk pure economics, which is the last thing I want to talk about,
But
but
of
I
course, you
get
know
it.
what's standing in the way of the green revolution? It's the billionaires. The billionaires
Exactly.
are never going to stop lobbying for Congress to not enact any real green change because the worse the planet gets, the more they profit.
Yeah, I think it's what Naomi Klein and other, like, leftist commentators have called disaster capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, you profit, you maximize profit in the wake of disaster.
Yeah.
And disaster capitalism, I'll tell you, it informs our geopolitics, which is to say our relations with other countries and our conflicts because Gaza, to me, is peak disaster capitalism. Gaza has huge fucking gas reserves. Trump has already talked about wanting to build resorts there. Him and his fucking Crete and his fucking sons, his family.
Yeah.
So that was it. And now what's happening in Lebanon is the same way because Lebanon had resources. Venezuela, when Maduro was illegally abducted, and I think is still in some holding cell in New York. I haven't heard about Maduro in months, and that's probably intentional because we have a media class that's totally co-opted to capitalist interests and has been for a long fucking time. That's not new to Trump at all. They have like the 5th largest oil reserves in the world. And don't even get me started on Iran. We know the Middle East is like a fucking oil boon and, like, raw materials there. It's disgusting. But I think green energy and a green revolution, that is fundamentally anti-imperialist.
Yeah.
It is fundamentally anti-capitalist. And yeah,
which is
I think
exactly why it can't happen anytime soon unless we get a radically further left president and Congress in the next few years.
Yeah. And I think we do that. And again, I know it's been memed and dunked on, not totally unjustifiably, like pushing people further left because people look at the failure of pushing Joe Biden on Gaza. But then again, Biden for decades was an avowed Zionist. He was the one that said if Israel didn't exist, we'd have to invent it. He was never gonna be fucking pushed. But I think if you push them materially, like other countries do, shutting shit down, doing organized strikes, everything else, the power is with us. And the billionaires fucking know it. Sam Altman, when he had a cocktail thrown at his house, suddenly he finds the words UBI coming out of his mouth. I'm telling you guys, they're afraid of us, and they fucking should be. So just remember the power that you have. I was very proud of Super Blue this week in the Discord because I know he was disappointed with some stuff with Jasmine Crockett and stuff in Texas.
Oh,
Uh,
dude, yeah, Jasmine Crockett actively endorsed an APAC candidate running against Cori Bush.
Yeah, and that's very disappointing. That's very disappointing. But where I was proud of Super Blue was he even said, I want to find his exact thing they said here, but more or less that he wanted to see what good he can do. Yeah, he said, I'm going to look into supporting my local PBS station or something because all this is pissing me off. That is the answer. And not to jerk myself off too hard, but I actually liked what I said to Super Blue in response, where I said, find a way to make your anger someone else's joy who has no one standing for them. That should be our politics fundamentally. Be angry, but make your anger serve the greater good. Because your anger here could be somebody's joy somewhere else, whether it's a trans person in a deep red state, somebody not eating tonight, whether in your state or another state. Like, it's with us. Fuck these billionaires and fuck politicians that are bought off, and the party's changing. And let me tell you something. The one thing that does give me a little bit of hope is that I hope that people are sick enough that even if these establishment Dems quietly do try and keep in place a lot of Trump's policies, we'll have enough whistleblowers within our ranks of the masses to be like, no, that shit's not gonna fucking fly. Because it's getting existential now, guys, for real. Between the ecological damage, the mass privatization of billionaires, like, I want to live in a free society. Like, I want to live in a society where we're all doing the shit that we know we can do and enjoying our lives and making a comfortable living and having clean air to fucking breathe and clean water to drink. And I don't think it's out of our reach yet. I still tell a friend all the time that if we democratize the economy and really invested in science, I don't even know if we could like beat climate change in the sense of like perfecting carbon capture, say, but I 1000% believe we can make climate resilient infrastructure. I believe we could live in whatever climate world we're going to inherit like several decades down the road. I believe in it. I believe in human ingenuity. I believe in teamwork. And I really hope that the midterms are the start of something big because we need to go big because these fascists know this is the late stage of capitalism. This always happens when fascism happens. It's capitalism at its limit. What happens next is up to us.
I mean, dude, it
And
seems
we'll
like
see.
Trump might even be looking at and maybe doing some war type stuff with Cuba now too. Like this isn't
Oh, dude, absolutely.
it's not getting any better. It's not slowing down. It's not going away. And it's funny because I mentioned earlier that I'm worried about the momentum that the sentiments for Democrat in this country has right now going away by election season. But if he keeps doing this and he keeps making things worse and worse, it's not going to.
It is insane to me because I was actually watching some Nixon content the
Honestly,
other night.
I want to tell us about your Nixon content story. I just really want to get this out.
No,
Honestly, the best thing that the Republican Party can do right now for the Republican Party is impeach Trump and get JD Vance in
yes.
there and then have JD Vance do like one or two big things like withdrawing from Iran, getting them to reopen the Hormuz Strait, maybe like decreasing ICE funding or something like that. Like do like literally one or two small things that can materially improve people's lives, and then they will vote for you again. And it's like you don't have to worry about this huge blue tidal wave that currently looks like it's on the horizon for November. If you impeach Trump and then all of a sudden turn one or two little things around that people feel like momentum is coming back, that would completely quell the blue wave, in my opinion.
I am inclined to agree with you, but the only thing I was going to say about Nixon very quick was like I was watching Nixon content and like he's actually being rehabilitated a little bit because people thought he had a great mind for foreign policy, whatever. But the big thing is Watergate was a scandal and he absolutely deserved to be fucking impeached. This dude, this regime that we're living in commits crimes every fucking day, multiple times a day. Like, I know Rachel Maddow did a fucking segment where she's talking about like every time Trump talks about a company, it's because he bought stock in that company. He has stock in Apple. He has stock in Palantir. We've already talked about Mike Johnson openly defending insider trading in Congress. The rot is just it's
People in
metastasized.
Congress only make $174,000 a year. How do you expect us to live on that?
All you had to do was pay them enough to fucking live. I really hope that's the last words of a lot of these motherfuckers here. I swear to God. Like that is obscene. To say that in this climate is just deranged. And again, he's like a Christian nationalist piece of shit, so Mike Johnson being deranged is par for the fucking course as far as I'm fucking concerned. But it is insane the climate we're living in. And again, the only thing that gives me hope is that in such insanity, in such chaos, something better is genuinely possible. In fact, I would almost perversely argue that's when it's most possible because everything else is collapsing. Right wing politics has shown its ass across the world. Viktor Orban's already lost in Hungary. I know that's older news, but it still happened. And it bears repeating because Trump really liked Orban, like a lot. And I think he patterned a lot of his fascism and his governance style after Orban. Well, he lost. Now, granted, and we always have to be realistic and we have to be honest, Orban was in power 16 years. I don't know if this ends or
Dude,
like if this fully
I
ends
think
even in
that we've
2028.
also kind of established that the main
Yeah.
difference between Trump and a lot of the dictators that he admires is that they materially improved the lives of their citizens before doing fascist shit. And Trump just
Yeah.
straight up hasn't.
Dude, thank you because I'm gonna. That is the one point. I know we try and not be too repetitive on the show, but that is something I am really tempted to just say every week because when you even do fascism, which is inherently an awful ideology and fucking worthless, but even when you do that stupidly, it's actually amazing. Unlike you really didn't improve anybody's life except the oligarchs because this is a fascism, but it's very specifically a techno-fascism, a neo-feudalism. They want another gilded age where the rich own everything. That's why Spirit Airlines, again, this is like a story we talked about 2-3 weeks ago. Spirit Airlines going bankrupt and closing its doors. That was a huge blow for the masses, for all of us, because that was one of the more affordable airlines. They want flying to be for the rich, which honestly, given plane quality and Boeing and shit, the rich can have it. Please, by all means, have it. I'll do train travel or I'll just stay the fuck home. I don't care. But like they want everything to be for them. They want us to have nothing. And these midterms are going to be fascinating because not only is it going to be a referendum on the Republican Party, which I assume that referendum is going to go horribly for them. It's also going to be a referendum in part on the Democratic Party because I'm going to be curious the difference in margins between establishment Dems potentially winning because I do think some milquetoast Dems will absolutely win because as you've
Oh,
said
yeah.
a few times they're better than like the Republicans in office. But I'm curious the margin of difference between them and actual progressive candidates, like how much further the progressive candidate wins, because that again should be further proof to you this is what the party should look like. Very interesting times we're in, guys. And 2028, honestly, with the prospect of AOC running, it actually got me more interested just from like, I need to see what's going to happen. And if it still ends up that a fucking Gavin Newsom's the candidate, I'm going to dissociate and cackle at the same time. It's not going to be a pretty sight, but that's probably going to be
Honestly,
my first reaction. And then,
as
yeah.
awful as Gavin Newsom would be, I think I would still be like in that mindset of like I think I need to dissociate now if someone like a Pete Buttigieg or a John Ossoff won the nomination because like in my mind the number one disqualifier for a presidential candidate coming out of the Democratic Party going into the 2028 election is if you're not for Medicare for all. Like, if you're not for Medicare for all, get the fuck off of my stage. Nobody should be voting for you.
Yes. Yeah. For me, I'm going to copy paste that, but then I have to add, just because you know I'm big on foreign policy, if you still support Israel or you do
Yeah.
middling
Oh,
language of
dude.
Israel,
Yeah.
you're dead to
100%.
me.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Like I swallowed that enough with Kamala just because I thought maybe just from other things we were reading that like Israel didn't want Kamala to win allegedly. I was like, okay, maybe. No, anybody else at this point that's
Dude,
still like, oh, we need to be a friend of Israel. Fuck off.
I think
Fuck off.
Israel didn't want Kamala to win to the degree that it led to Joe Biden not wanting Kamala to win.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is insane. Because you know what, that would be a whole other rant. We've had a very extended politics segment. I'm going to table that maybe for next week about why I think it's insane just how pro-Israel some American politicians are. But yeah, just
Schumer.
very interesting times. Oh my God, fuck Chuck Schumer, fuck Hakeem Jeffries, fuck Cory Booker. In fact, Cory Booker especially, I fucking hate you, dude. I know he's never gonna hear this, but I fucking hate Cory Booker. The applause and the tears that he got from people that were looking for anything of hope, which I don't blame those people. You take hope where you can get it. But shame on Cory Booker that you gave those people hope and then you did nothing with it except peddle a fucking book. You're a disgrace. I hate that dude so much. Josh Shapiro too, who wants to be like an Obama figure so bad, and yet you really had the audacity to go to newspapers and be like, I want to, make it so the Democratic Party can still be, at the very least centrist about Israel. There is no centrism about Israel. There is no genuine question with actual thought of how many dead children are enough, because if the answer is anything other than zero, you're a fucking psychopath. It's insane. It's insane, and I'm really hoping that like we're waking up, because it's on us, fam. These people are fucking cracked, and the progressive candidates we're picking, we need enough of them where they can really start doing leverage. I mean, really
Dude,
start doing leverage.
I
It's
love
insane.
that Cory Booker broke the record for longest filibuster of all time, and still to this day, the most memorable moment of him standing on a stage was the side eye he gave Beto O'Rourke when he started speaking Spanish.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, dude, I haven't watched that clip in like maybe 2 years, because I did watch it like somewhat recently, using recently broadly. Dude, that face takes me the fuck out every time because
We're
he
gonna
looked.
remember that way longer than we remember the 25-hour filibuster.
And the thing is, Beto was like speaking Spanish poorly, but even poor Spanish made Cory Booker look fucking terrified.
The funny thing is, Beto might have been speaking Spanish poorly, but Cory decided to try and follow it up with his own Spanish, and it was even worse.
Just really said, I didn't know the test was bilingual. Holy fuck. And then he tries and he gets an F anyway. Yeah, fuck these people. Progressivism is the fucking future. It's Graham Plattner. It's Zoran Mamdani. And like Kyle really had a line too about Zoran. And again, I keep all these people at a distance, but I'm also realistic about the situation we have. He had a line that I do agree with, seeing what Zoran's already done. It's a shame that this dude can't run for president because of the rules for the presidency. Because, like, that dude's the president we need.
Yeah.
At the very least, domestically. I have no idea how he would handle
know
foreign
what,
policy,
though?
which you guys know I care about a lot.
20,
But yeah.
20 years from now, we're going to have someone who was inspired by Zoran running for president, and it's going to be glorious.
Either that, or you know what I would fucking love, since rules don't matter anyway? You do a fucking constitutional amendment or something, and then you do make him eligible to run. Because what does it matter? What does it matter? We have a government that's violating the rules every fucking day. Like, I would honestly love a dirtbag
Constitutional
leftist
amendments are
president.
really fucking hard to do, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair. But I mean, again, maybe it wouldn't even be like, okay, we're doing this now. Like, I really am honestly at the point, if I can't get communism, I would honestly love the next best thing to just be a dirtbag left candidate. And when I say dirtbag left, I mean somebody that like doesn't think civility and niceties and social mores are the most important thing to being president, but that it's actual fucking policy and material improvement. That's what I mean.
So Bernie.
To just to just be like, no, fuck these social conventions. We're doing this because I saw what fascism was doing for like however many years. We're doing this now. So you're going to figure out how to do Medicare for all, universal education, and if billionaires want to cry about it, what are you going to do? Leave? Go ahead, do it, because we'll build something better without you anyway. You need to be here. Your ego needs to be here. So you're going to pay more in taxes, and then you're still going to be filthy fucking rich probably. I mean, I would absolutely love if we just took everything from them, but I'm also a realist. Yeah, make these people fucking hurt a little bit. I mean, because honestly, I think what's also got me so worked up was that Jeff Bezos fucking interview where he was like, oh, I promise you my taxes aren't gonna, raising my taxes won't help a teacher in Queens. Fuck you.
Dude.
Fuck you.
Apparently Zoran could still run for president even if he can't legally win.
He should. He should. Let it be a referendum on the whole fucking electoral system and the country's politics.
That would be the most radical thing that we've seen in politics since Trump, which, like, talk about a 180.
Which, that's the crazy thing, right? Because Trump, if nothing else, and I want to be careful how I say this here, I'm probably still going to say it horribly, Trump, I think, did signal that like there was a segment of the country that was hungry for, especially Trump 2016 specifically, not Trump 2020 and certainly not Trump 2024. Trump 2016, I think, signaled that the country was hungry to break the rules and norms of electoralism and do something radical.
Yep.
It was just the worst kind of radicalism because it was racist and it was billionaire coded and everything else.
It is wild how Trump just wins elections by lying his ass off. Like, he taps into what people want and he tells them the answer to what he figures out they want, and then he just never gives it to them, and they just forget about the lies and vote for him again anyway.
Dude, and I think it also, and I hate to admit this, but like even now, he'll occasionally have a line that pops me. I hate that he can make me laugh occasionally, but like I still think about when he debated Biden. Oh my God, gerontocracy at its fucking apex. And Biden had said, we gave everybody COVID and we beat Medicare. And I think after that speech, Trump goes into the microphone and he's like, I don't know what he just said. I don't think he knows what he said either. And like I found that funny. And like that's the thing. Like we all, and probably even me to a degree, need different standards for our politics, and especially with the Democrats, we need to be more discerning. So yeah,
Dude,
do the blue wave, but
yeah.
when you see the people are fucking around, make them find out. Really. I'd love if the party was more AOCs, or and again, AOC I got my issues with, but we'll see how her candidacy goes. Zoran especially, because he has pleasantly surprised me and he keeps surprising me. I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop. Again, I'm very emotionally distant. And Graham Plattner has been fucking cooking people. And honestly, I hope that Reddit dirtbag is still in there and just being like, yeah, cops. Yeah, we're gonna trim your funding a little bit. We're gonna go to more social programs and stuff like that. But you can't do that. The police union, yeah, fuck your union. I'd really love to see police get more uncomfortable around here.
Dude,
So,
the Republican Party needs to just end. It just needs to
dude, it
die.
does.
Jesus
It
Christ! Because
does.
I was just looking up. You know how Google has a little AI overview, so you can kind of talk to Google now rather than just asking questions and shit. I
Yes.
said to Google, given the unelectability of J.D. Vance, who is the most likely 2028 Republican nominee for president? And it said Marco Rubio.
Which again, and again, I'm just being honest with you guys because I'm never just going to show you my good side. I'm going to show you a side that I'm probably like, well, that's probably not good. But Trump made me laugh about Rubio too in 2016
Little
when he went to a
Marco.
fucking rally and he grabbed a water bottle and he was squirting the water bottle into the crowd. And he was like, "It's Rubio." It's because Rubio had the whole meme where he just needed a fucking bottle of water because his mouth was dry and he was like fucking up a speech. And I was like, God damn, like. And that's why Trump has totally lost it. Like the 2024 campaign, I think was one of the worst in history, but he won. To go back to your point, like he lies his ass off and
But
he
dude,
wins.
low key, I think that both 2020 and 2024 were elections where the winner won because people were voting against the alternative rather than being excited to vote for who they voted for. Like
Yeah,
2020, people weren't excited to vote for Joe Biden. They were actively enraged and voting against Trump. 2024, people weren't voting for Trump so much as they were actively enraged and voting against Biden. Because whether you are a Democrat who fucking hates Biden because of Israel, or a Republican in general, and you've been fed so much propaganda that you believe that Biden is basically the second coming of the fucking devil, you wanted Biden out of office, especially because of like, God, the messaging in 2024 was so fucking bad from more liberal news outlets because all of them were talking about, oh, the economy is in such a good recovery. We're doing so much better than everyone else right now. Don't you feel it, everyone? And then the fucking 46-year-old divorced dad who's trying to fill his truck up and can't because it's too goddamn expensive is seeing that shit on the news and just loathing it and just seething inside because he doesn't feel it because the economy's recovery was, as we've talked about before, K-shaped. We have this whole thing of a K-shaped economy where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And oh man, our recovery has been so amazing. Our economy recovered faster than anyone else in the world. Yeah, but the difference is these other countries that are recovering slower than us are making sure to bring everyone along for the recovery, not just the already wealthy.
yeah, yeah.
And meanwhile, Biden is like struggling to even pass student loan forgiveness because the Supreme Court is fucking him. And that was like his big legislation. I just, people were so pissed off about the economy in 2024 that the Republicans could have run the worst possible candidate and be real, they might have, and still won. And they did.
And then I do want to end the politics of it because this has been an extended conversation. I've enjoyed it, but I don't want us to get redundant. But I do just want to respond to that with one more thing to just hammer home one final fucking time our overall theme that left populism fucking wins.
Mm-hmm.
The New York, to your point, how they voted on the economy, the New York Times did a piece about like global elections in the wake of COVID. I think everybody that they documented in that research lost their election except fucking Scheinbaum in Mexico because she's a
Queen.
progressive because she has openly
Fucking
said
queen.
because she has openly said neoliberalism is dead.
I love her.
And yeah, like she was the only one to retain her seat as president in that data collection of post-COVID elections
Yup.
because she was a fucking progressive. And meanwhile, again, nothing against, well, actually no, fuck that. I was about to be nice cuz fuck Kamala honestly, because you can have the rhetoric of threat to democracy and then you're only speaking to fucking billionaire donors and shit. Fuck you. But yeah, like she wasn't talking about Medicare for all. You were
No.
talking about what, like a tax fucking rebate? Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, people,
Yeah.
wake the
Yeah.
fuck up.
Yeah. We're gonna give you. I think it was like a $6,000 tax rebate on your home on first time home buyers. It's like, dude, how about instead of a tax rebate, you just give me the money to help me buy the home? Fuck you. I like,
Yeah,
if I
yes.
don't have $6,000 to burn on a new home, then giving that $6,000 back to me in February when I file my taxes is irrelevant because I don't fucking have it to get.
God, I wish a major news network would give you one of those fucking editorial shows. Just give me the money to buy the home. Fuck you. Like, I would tune in every fucking week.
Well, you know
So
what? The good news is there is no need because I'm right here on TwitWoW on YouTube, baby.
I love that I could just plug you into my veins 24/7. It's quite a boon for me personally. So with that said, guys, yeah, that was an extended politics discussion, but again, the overall theme, leftist populism fucking works. It fucking wins, it
Yeah.
fucking works.
Also,
And
by the
yeah.
way, other than JD Vance and Marco Rubio, here's the rest of the list of winners that Google AI Overview gave me in terms of who could be the 2028 Republican nominee for president: Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump Jr., and Tucker Carlson.
Oh, that party is so fucking cooked,
How
dude.
is it? How is it actually worse than the list of Democrat potentials?
Tucker Carlson, a man whose face, when he's talking about things that quote unquote confuse him, he looks like he's watching a male seahorse give birth. Oh my god, these fucking people are a joke.
A man with
I
a
actually,
laugh. A man with a laugh that makes it sound like he's surprised every time he finds something funny.
exactly. One more thing. One God damn it. One more thing in the politics section that I feel is worth mentioning is, and I want to thank you, Ashton, because you actually jogged my memory on this by mentioning Google AI once or twice. Apparently, the AI integration on Google is about to go way the fuck up, according to a friend of mine, and I did some cursory searching, and it seems to be true. May 26th. The way my friend summarized it was, I saw the news about Google search engine switching to just AI search results starting May 26th. So if that grosses you out, I think I'm going to be switching to DuckDuckGo full time. There is also Ecosia, which apparently plants a tree every time you do a search result. Don't really know about that. It's Ecotasia, actually. I said that wrong. But yeah, I only get a little sus about those because I'm like, what's the catch? You know what I mean? But that's also
If
another
you're
option.
planting a tree every time I do a search, what is preventing you from planting the trees without needing me to do the fucking search?
I love that this like energy right now is just cut out the fucking middleman and do the thing. Give me the money for the house and plant the fucking tree.
Goddamn
God
right.
damn it. Yeah. Pop. Ashton Pop. All right. So, yeah, I just wanted to warn you guys if you don't really like AI search results. I actually, look,
Which
I'll
is
admit
all
again.
of us.
Yeah, I sometimes use the summaries, but I want to just stress the summaries. I don't want all search results to be fucking AI. I'm going to DuckDuckGo, I think, permanently, because they use AI too, but I think it's far more limited in scale. So I'm just going with the least bad option that I feel like there is, and maybe I will just go to Ecotasia, but plant a fucking tree or two. I don't fucking know.
Hey
So
Google.
anyway,
Hey Google. Fuck no.
nice. Again, you gotta stop it over there. We have the
I
rest of the
will
show to do.
not.
Well, there you go then. I guess I'm shit out of luck. Now let's talk about pop culture. Biggest thing here, we finished The Boys. What a fucking
Finally.
show that was.
Yeah.
You want to go first actually on that? Just your overall thoughts, and they've had time to digest that finale, or just
Uh
nothing really to
I
say.
mean,
Just enjoyed it.
yeah,
Move
we
on.
could talk about it. I'm just worried I don't want to spoil anyone, you know?
Oh yeah, that's true. We got to be mindful of that. We got to be mindful of
Yeah,
that.
because it just dropped like a few days ago. It hasn't been out that long. So, Super Blue, you said check the ID channel in Discord. What the fuck is the ID channel?
I think it might be a thread that he started on age verification in politics, so we would have to check threads.
Oh, I don't see that though. Oh, yeah, I do. There it is.
Look at me knowing things. Yeah.
Stop using
Let's
Google search. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's that. All right, so fine.
There we go. So yeah, I guess we'll just say yeah, because you know what, you all right about spoilers. I'll just say
I did
great
love the
and
season. I think John and I and my mom, all three of us gave the final season a 9 out of 10.
yeah, and Anthony Starr better fucking have a career after this. Like that's the only thing I'm gonna say that doesn't get into spoilers or anything specific. That dude was the boys. I feel like for 5 seasons. There were other great performances too. Do not get me wrong, but that dude embodied Homelander. I rewatched some scenes today, and I even posted them in the boys kind of channel in the Discord. What an amazing actor with honestly underrated range. Because I think people hear Homelander and it's like, oh, so just throwing tantrums and committing violence. But I feel like there's so much more to the character than that. And Anthony Starr really portrayed that expertly. I would say honestly, him and Karen Fukuhara were my favorite consistent performances throughout the show, with maybe Carl Urban or Frenchie coming in third. Well, Frenchie would be Tomer Capone if we're going by actor names. So Butcher or Frenchie as like my third favorite performance. Yeah, it was his show in my mind, and I really hope he has a great career after this. So that was a big thing we did. Anything else you want to say about the boys that isn't spoilerly, but just general thoughts, or do you want to just talk about other stuff we did? Just
Uh,
real quick.
in an attempt to avoid spoilers, I don't want to say anything else. It was a really fantastic ending. I know that people are really shitting on it, and like there are a lot of people bitching about the final season, and I've actually seen people comparing it to the final season of Game of Thrones. Just to, if anyone in our chat is concerned about those people on the internet saying that, it's absurd. Uh, John and I watched Game of Thrones, and we actually live reacted, not reacted, but live reviewed the final season. And the let me put it this way: if you haven't watched the final episode of the final season of The Boys, mute for about 2 minutes because I'm going to talk about spoilers.
Okay.
If Cersei Lannister's death was anywhere even close, I think I used a quarter as satisfying as Homelander's was, people would bitch about the final season of Game of Thrones so much less, because the way that the catharsis that we as the audience got to feel in the entire sequence leading up to and then the actual act of Homelander's death was up there with some of the best climaxes in the history of cinema, I would argue. And the crazy thing is, that wasn't even the end of the episode. There was more crazy shit that happened after that. But I don't think that what happened after that necessarily like sullied the incredible catharsis that we got from that scene, from that moment. So like, no, if you are seriously seeing, and like I did, people comparing the final season of The Boys to the final season of Game of Thrones, let me put it this way: the final season of Game of Thrones ruined the entire show so much that I haven't even attempted to go back and watch the good seasons. And I think a lot of people are with me on that. Another show that I think had a final season on the level of Game of Thrones, as far as just being so bad that it ruins the entire show, is Umbrella Academy. I loved the Umbrella Academy, and then the final season was so fucking bad and it pissed me off so fucking much that I have
Yeah.
barely even thought about it since we watched it. These people that are talking about Stranger Things season 5 and now The Boys season 5 being on a level of bad with Game of Thrones season 8 are off their fucking rockers. That is insane to me.
Agreed. The only other thing I want to say, so because again, you put that time on yourself, I'm not really going to directly respond to anything you said because I don't want to trip myself up and give spoilers. So the only other thing I'll say, I fucking love Jensen Ackles as an actor, particularly in this Soldier Boy role. I kind of want to see other stuff he's done. And I really, really, really am looking forward to him in Vault Rising, the
Yeah.
kind of prequel
Jensen
series that they're doing.
Ackles' performance this season was outstanding. Like, it
Yes,
is insane that you put this man in the role of Soldier Boy, and he is just a one-liner machine. He is easily the most quotable character in the history of this universe. He has been in a grand total of like 1.5 seasons of this show, and he has more iconic quotes than anyone who's been in the show all 5 seasons. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, dude. I openly, and Ashton can vouch for me on this. I openly at one point said aloud that I asked Soldier Boy to be my dad, and obviously that's not going to work out. But goddamn, I would be far less of a disappointment than Homelander, and far less weird, which is saying something because I'm very aware of my own face.
The way he
But
calls Homelander an asexual little weirdo.
yes. Oh my god, too good, too good. So beyond the boys, did we do any movies or anything? I'm trying to remember what else we did because I've been so dialed in on the
Oh,
boys.
let me actually pull up our watch list because I have done a pretty good job of keeping up with what we've been doing.
Done a great fucking job because your face is beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, bud.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's just been the boys for us this week. But on a personal note, my mom and I, on I want to say Monday, watched Atlantis: The Lost Empire with Gala.
Was that the first Atlantis movie or the sequel? Was
The
that like
first. It was
just
the original
yeah.
Atlantis movie that came out in like 2001 or something like that.
Underrated Disney film, honestly. I'm glad
It
you
was
you watched it.
fucking great, dude. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The animation was beautiful.
Dude, absolutely. Gorgeous film.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say as far as gaming, I saw a character release
Ooh.
trailer for the Avatar fighting game that they're doing for
That
Azula.
game looks
And
so fucking fun.
dude, it looks fun and it looks gorgeous from the artistic side. Like I was like, damn. That like ultra attack from Azula with like the lightning and stuff was so well animated. Holy shit. Um and so yeah, I was very thrilled to see that. As far as music goes, I don't think anything really interesting has been happening with me. I'm still waiting for another Mosaic song, making me sad. I'm missing those guys. And a lot of my groups haven't released anything. I am excited next month though, because I know Evanescence's album is going to drop, and I might
A
actually
new
check.
Evanescence album?
Yeah, yeah, because I know I posted. I think
Wow.
I even made it a jam of the day that she released a new song,
Oh
"Follow,"
yeah,
that's
I
going to
do
be.
remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there is that's very exciting to me, that album coming out. Um and yeah, I just think musically nothing's happened. And gaming, I know you and I have just been doing like a lot of Brawlhalla and stuff. So what about you, bud? Have you done any like gaming independently or any
Yeah,
music you've listened to that you
actually,
want to talk
well,
about?
I actually did mention this earlier in the show. On Friday, I was playing Fire Emblem. That was the Game Boy Advance
Yes,
game
that's
that I
right.
brought up. When I say Fire Emblem, I don't mean you know, the more recent Fire Emblem the Switch. No, none of that. I mean Fire Emblem. I mean the game that came out in like 2003 that was just titled Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance. It was one of those interesting situations where I actually bought the game under the impression that I would get to use Roy or Marth because I loved Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I knew that those two characters in Smash were from the Fire Emblem franchise. So I figured I want to use them in the game that they are from, and I bought Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance. Turns out neither one of those guys is in it, but Roy's father is. Interestingly enough, Roy from Smash Bros. Dad is Eliwood in the Fire Emblem game that I've been playing. Um, Interestingly enough, Eliwood kind of fucking sucks actually.
But
There are three main lords in the Fire Emblem game that I'm talking about here, and the three are Eliwood, Lyn, and Hector. Lyn is like the most popular lord in the history of the Fire Emblem franchise, even though she's kind of mid in her game. And Hector's a fucking beast. I love Hector. He's great. Um, but the point is, I have been thoroughly enjoying the game. There are, I think, like 31 chapters in the like first playthrough that you do, because the first playthrough you do, you are forced into like normal mode or easy mode. And I am on chapter like 20-ish, I want to say. I think I'm on chapter 20. Just to give you an idea of like how far I've gotten this week.
yeah.
Gotta tell you though, there have been a few chapters that I've struggled with. There have been a few chapters where I've had a character die, and for me, because you know the way that I'm like very, I don't know if neurotic's the right word about it, but I'm very like picky and very like fussy about not wanting to settle for less than perfect in games.
Yeah.
And so my whole thing is if I let a character die in a chapter, I have to restart the whole chapter over to prevent them from dying. Because in Fire Emblem, if a character dies, they stay dead. That's the whole gimmick with Fire Emblem is if one of your characters die in battle, you lose them forever. They stay dead. You can't bring them back. There are no revive items in the game. You don't get them back for the next chapter. They are just fucking dead. It's over for them. And so when I play, I do my best to avoid anyone dying, but if I fuck up and someone does die, I will just restart that chapter entirely to prevent that from happening. Which has led to some frustration because I'm rusty. I haven't played these games in a while, but I'm still having a lot of fun with it and I'm still hyper fixating on it for now. And a lot of that is because there's a new Fire Emblem game coming out this year, most likely probably in August, maybe September. And I'm thinking about actually getting it. Dude, you got to realize the last Fire Emblem game that I played was on the DS. Like the
Oh, okay.
most
Yeah.
like the most recently released Fire Emblem game that I played was Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon on the DS, and that was in like I want to say like 2006 maybe something like that. So we're talking
Yeah.
20 years ago. I haven't played any more recently released Fire Emblems than Shadow Dragon, and even then I've barely played Shadow Dragon. Like I remember when I was a teenager, I got Shadow Dragon because I fucking loved Fire Emblem. I had played there were four Fire Emblems that I had played up to that point. There was the one that I've been talking about, and then the Sacred Stones, which was also on Game Boy Advance, and then Path of Radiance came out on the GameCube, and then Radiant Dawn was a Wii game. And then the next one to get released was Shadow Dragon on DS, and I was so excited to play finally, Fire Emblem coming back to a handheld and not on a TV console. And I got into it and I started playing it and I got through a bunch of chapters. And next thing you know, they force you to sacrifice one of your characters. And it sat so poorly with me that I put the game down for good and never picked it back up.
Damn.
I know. I tell you, I've always been this way. Here I
Damn.
am restarting chapters to try and save people's lives. And then the game is like, no, no, no. This someone has to die and you get to choose who it is.
Yeah.
Oh God! And I think another problem is that the character that ended up getting forced to die, I think, was a character that I had invested like a lot of experience into, and so
Oh.
I was basically facing a choice of either continuing and just kind of soldiering along while I'm like struggle bussing, trying to like catch everyone up because I had sunk so much experience into the character that died, or just restarting the game with the advanced knowledge that that character is dying. And I just was like, no, I'm not doing either one of those things. I'm done with this game forever.
Yes.
The
Yes.
really funny thing about it though is that I know now with, the 20 years of knowledge that I've gained since I played that game that game is actually a remake of the first ever Fire Emblem game released in history that came out in 1990 only in Japan for the NES, or in their case it's called the Famicom.
Yeah. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, the original Fire Emblem game was like, you know, the Fire Emblem and the Shadow Dragon and Light or something like that. And yeah, the first game that came out on the DS that was Fire Emblem was it's called Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, and it was a sort of like reimagining, remake, remaster of that first game. So they were like, you like to play things from the beginning? Here's the first game, up to date, new mechanics, new console, everything. And I was like, oh baby, I'm gonna get into it. Wait, I have to kill the guy that I've been building up this whole time? Fuck you, I'm done with this game forever.
Way to stand your ground, friend.
I
Jesus
I
Christ.
I have so many regrets.
Oh.
Because now I am like hyper fixating on Fire Emblem, and I'm like, okay, I've got this one to play, and then I can play the Sacred Stones and maybe Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and then I can get around to Shadow Dragon. And guess what? Shadow Dragon is Fire Emblem 11. The game that's
Yeah.
coming out this year is Fire Emblem 18.
Jesus.
So many that I missed out on.
Oh my God.
I
What the
know, it's
fuck?
ridiculous.
Anything else you want to talk about on your side for pop culture?
Um, a new Olivia Rodrigo song dropped this week, and it's really pretty.
Nice,
It's
nice.
called The Cure.
The Cure?
Yeah.
The Cure for what?
Mom, you've listened to it enough times. What is it that? What's The Cure to? Did you hear her?
No, what was it?
Falling in love, being in love, getting hurt, that kind of thing.
I should have known. Honestly, of
Yeah,
course it is.
it's Olivia Rodrigo. That's what all her songs are about. But yeah, that was a good one. I've been listening to a lot of Noah, not Noah. I've been listening to a lot of Noah. Fuck, I said the wrong word again. I've been listening to a lot of Conan Gray this week. There it is. That's the correct name. Conan Gray is, from what I understand, he's actually good friends with Olivia Rodrigo. Interestingly enough, and his music is pretty similar stylistically to Olivia. But yeah, he's got a lot more music out than Olivia because Olivia only has 2 feature-length albums out, and Conan's got like 4. So I've got a lot of Olivia Rodrigo songs that I'm sick of hearing because I hear them all the fucking time, and for the longest time they were getting played on the radio all the fucking time, and I'm like, okay, it's time for a break. Whereas with Conan, I can hear a similar genre of music without having to hear the exact same songs over and over again, and it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think just from like a content standpoint, my mom and I watched Over the Hedge this week. I love that movie. That's one of my like go-to background putter movies. And I've also been doing a little bit of a Haikyuu rewatch this week.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that about covers it for me. Although I will say, dude, I am very much excited because we're like a month, not even fully, like a full month away from the finale of Doctor Stone.
Yes.
We'll finally
Yes.
be able to go back and catch up on Doctor Stone.
Yeah, cause dude, I've been seeing that show get updated, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a journey we take, and that's gonna be
Yep.
really cool.
What have you been seeing to get updated on?
Oh, well, just like watch series and stuff like that, like new episode
Oh,
uploads, and I'm
right.
like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so is that it then for you? We can move on to Q&A.
Music, games, content. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, let us get to Q&A,
And thank
which,
Christ, right? We've been here for fucking ever. 3 hours
dude,
already.
dude, I know. I really didn't plan for this to go this long because I gotta make food when you and I get done here, just because the babysitting has pushed everything back for me. But let's see, because I know Super Blue usually open. Okay, so yeah, I found his
Yeah,
question
should we
one.
be worried about how the orange dumbass will use the money to pay January Sixers? I don't think he's going to get it, honestly. I think enough Senate Republicans are pissed at him that he's not going to get it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Ashton on this one. But in the worst case scenario where it does happen, I mean, apparently there is historical precedent for this. Trump does love Hitler. Apparently, he owned a copy of Mein Kampf, and Hitler also kept a slush fund for like brown shirts and shit to be like, hey, go rough shit up, and I'll make it worth your while, just to further consolidate power.
Yeah.
So I could see it's like an incentivizing for these January 6ers. Like, hey, you did my bidding once. Here's your payout. Just know that you could be
Dude,
on call for me again.
I
You
have
know?
to ask, though,
Yeah. What's up?
how many of these January Sixers that he wants to pay are already in ice?
Yeah, that's a great point. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a sizable number. I'll put it to you that way. Um,
Yeah, like that's I what's the name of those charts where you've got like overlapping circles?
Venn diagrams?
Yeah, that Venn diagram is a stack of pancakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, question 2. Jesus Christ.
If there was a
Uh,
Kushida and Yoshihashi character in Invincible, would they be able to stop Thrag?
no, no.
Did you
And
see
honestly,
what he did to Thetis?
yeah, like Super Blue. You know what? I'm comfortable saying this because I did love on you for the whole PBS thing because I really am genuinely proud of you for not only being receptive to constructive feedback from the guys with your frustration, but then looking forward. But I have to say this: I worry about you sometimes when you say shit like this, Mike, because I'm like, on what planet do you think this is feasible? No, no, they would be just their torso would be fucking obliterated, and that's putting it mildly. I mean, I don't even know what Thrag would do to those fuckers, but it wouldn't be pretty.
Put it this
Try
way:
again.
you saw what Thrag did to Oliver, right? And then like think about how easily Oliver beats most supervillains that he faces. Yeah, Yoshihashi and Kushida would get their asses whooped by those supervillains.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Really worry about him, man. I don't fucking know.
Why is it the majority of progressive socialists around the world are minorities and women? It's called compassion, and they're the most likely ones to have it.
Yeah, it's my thing is because we kind of talked about this recently, and I do agree with the notion that trauma is just trauma. Like, I don't think it's necessarily like needed for character building or anything else. All of that said, though, people that understand how power works and that want to do good things, like, yeah, if you build the infrastructure for it, you can get a movement going. That is one thing in the US to look at our politics again. You see an infrastructure slowly being built for more progressive politics, and even just people that are just fucking hardcore leftists. Like I know we all aspire to be here. Like Black Panthers and shit. They've been around for fucking ever, and they've built the infrastructure. And yeah, because they're people that fundamentally understand we are a capitalist white supremacist society, and even around the world, you don't think white supremacy gets exported elsewhere? Like, that's always the
Poland
struggle, and
is
I think
bad
minorities and
right
women.
now.
Beg pardon?
I said Poland is bad right now.
Yeah, Poland is fucking awful. And patriarchy for sure gets exported globally. For fucking sure. So while you'll always have people in those groups that carry water for the very systems that oppress them, you're gonna have just as many people that are like, nah, man, fuck this shit. This is stupid. Life should be better than this, and we're gonna make it better than this. And to those people, I say, you're fucking dope. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that these people, and again, you look at Bolivia, I wouldn't be surprised if the next government, provided it was a government that people actually wanted, was led
And
maybe
not
by
just
a
a
woman.
US led coup.
Exactly. Jesus, yeah, I hate how fucking true that is. So, question 4, we got to pull a link up here, cage match, because Super Blue wants
Oh
preview and
boy.
predictions
I
for
just
Double
love
or Nothing.
previewing and predicting shows I have no interest in.
Dude, why'd you gotta do the Mickey voice for that, man? I was staying all poses, and you just had to sneak that in out of nowhere. Um, we're doing a stadium stampede match on this show. What the fuck? Okay. Jack Perry, hated already. Jericho, not doing much better. And the Elite, represented by Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. And the Hurt Syndicate, so Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, versus the Don Callis family, so Andrade and Mark Davis. The Demand, Bishop Khan, Ricochet, and Toa Leona. And the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay. Um,
Sorry
yes.
about that. I left and rejoined the call because my headphones got unplugged, but I'm back now, and I did hear everything that you said in terms of what the actual card or what the actual match was,
Yeah.
but I didn't hear your prediction.
Oh, I'm just going with the Elite and the Hurt Syndicate. I'm not trying to overthink this.
Cool.
Are
Everyone
you
can still
agreeing?
hear me, right? I want to make sure everyone in the stream can still hear both of us. If you can
Yes.
still hear both of us, please let us know. I just want to make sure. I am now going to pull up this cage match. I agree that the Hurt Syndicate and the Elite and Perry and Jericho are probably winning the Stadium Stampede match.
AEW International Title match. Okada versus Takeshita.
Takeshita.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. I was really torn on this one, but I'm leaning Takeshita, so we're going with it. I actually like the concept of this match, a World Tag Team Title match, but that's an I Quit match. So it's FTR versus Copeland and Christian. I think Copeland and Christian finally get the dub here.
Agree.
I think that.
I'm
Yeah, I
actually
think
going to
they
make a
finally.
bold prediction here. I think every title changes hands.
Which would mean you think. Well, you know what? We'll get to that in a few minutes. All right.
You're right. Yes,
Men's.
correct.
Yeah, but men's Owen Hart tournament quarterfinal match: Samoa Joe versus Will Ospreay. Ospreay's getting this. 100%. Joe, I think, is on the last leg of his career. You don't need to give him this. I'm going Osprey 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go Osprey for this, and then our next match is Swerve versus Bandito. I'm gonna go Swerve for that.
You know what? I'm gonna go Bandito for an upset.
I love that.
I'm gonna,
I'm rooting for
I'm-
him, and that would be really neat. So then we've got a women's Owen tournament quarterfinal, and it's Athena versus Mina. I fully expect Athena to win this.
yeah, I love them both. God knows I adore Mina to death, but Athena for sure.
So then, yeah, we've got the AEW Continental Championship no time limit match. John Moxley defending against Kyle O'Reilly. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I don't think that John Moxley is dropping the title, even though I just got done saying that I think every title changes hands. I really can't imagine a world where Kyle O'Reilly at almost 40 years old is winning one of the major championships in this company from one of the aces of said company. So even though I did just say every title changes hands, this is going to be my one exception, guys. I'm going to pick John Moxley to retain.
From the future. Fuck you, Ashton from the past. I'll predict my own way. I'm gonna agree with you that John Moxley retains.
Yeah.
Next match is a women's world title fatal four-way. Tekla versus Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander. I would love for Jamie Hayter to fucking win this, but I'm going with Tekla retaining.
I am picking Jamie.
I honestly hope you're right, friend. You know, we've never treated these preview predictions like a contest between us. I've never seen it that way. I'm rooting for you to be right. Fuck me being right on this. But I really do think Tekla is just on top of the world right now. I think AEW loves her. So we'll see. And then finally, our main event, title versus hair, AEW world title to be exact. Darby Allin versus MJF. I think MJF's getting the title back. I
Same.
don't think he's going to go
Agree.
bald.
Yeah.
So you act okay, yeah, because you did say MJF getting the title. So actually, yeah, because at first I thought MJF was the defending champion, so I got my wires crossed when you first said it, and then I got back. So yeah, we both think MJF's keeping his hair. So yeah, MJF will be a three-time world champion. Cool. Oh yeah. By
I
the
saw
way,
him I saw him post on social media this list of people who were three-time world champions before they were 30, and it was like Stone Cold and The Rock and fucking like I don't even remember all the whole name, but like it was like this list of like mega stars, and I'm just like, how does it feel to know that you're the only one that's never drawn a fucking dime?
God damn. By the way, one note here from Cage match about that tag I quit match, which makes me even more confident that Cope and Cage are winning. If Adam Copeland and Chris Cage lose, they must retire as a tag team.
Yeah, that's not
No,
good.
they're winning the fucking titles.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's happening. All right, Super Blue. Those were your preview predictions for a show that neither one of us are gonna watch. Fuck yeah. Um, question 5. Why are Oklahomans stupid and actually thinking about voting against raising the minimum wage?
Because
And apparently,
propaganda.
yeah, I think we're one of, if not the most propagandized country on earth. Like,
I
unironically,
heard this.
it's
I don't
insane.
remember who told this story or what the context was, but I'll never forget this story about how like this dude was overseas at war, or deployed, and they were talking to I want to say a Russian soldier, and they were like, "Man, I would never be able to live here. You guys deal with so much propaganda, it's crazy." And then the Russian was like, "We might have a lot of propaganda, but it doesn't compare to American propaganda." And then the American was like, "What propaganda? We don't deal with that." And the Russian was like, "Exactly."
God damn. Um, yeah, just that. And then we had one question from Abel, and that's it. And
Also,
Abel
I do
asked,
want to delve in just a little bit deeper. Also, we are not done with Super Blue. Um,
oh yeah, I see question
yeah,
6. Yeah, I see that.
but no, but I do just want to be more like I want to dive a little bit deeper here. When I say propaganda, really like people are already terrified of unaffordability because things are already so unaffordable. And there are major corporations who don't want to pay people more, actively putting out misinformation that raising the minimum wage would make the cost of living crisis worse. They
Yeah,
are basically pumping information out there that a higher minimum wage means that goods become less affordable. Newsflash, Oklahoma, goods are going to start being more and more unaffordable, whether people are making more money or not. So you might as well just help a motherfucker out and increase the minimum wage and help more people be able to afford these constantly rising prices. somebody making $7.25 an hour going up to $12 an hour in 2027 would be a gigantic boost in their income. And it would take them from way below poverty to just mostly below poverty. And then the boost up to $15 an hour by 2029 might even get them up to almost being in actual regular plain poverty and not way below it. So, yeah, that's actually a pretty big deal and it's very helpful. And if Oklahomans fuck this up, it's not necessarily because Oklahomans are stupid, it's because Oklahomans are extremely propagandized to and scared. That's a dangerous combination.
Yeah. Yeah. I have nothing to add. I think you said everything perfectly. So, question 6 for Super Blue, which thank you for catching that because I would have overlooked it. Because I'm just glad I didn't overlook Abel's question because he didn't even put like Q. I'm so used to like Super Blue numbering his questions.
Yeah.
Um, oh wait, it's another preview and predictions thing.
Yeah, but
This time
thankfully
for
we
the
only
triple.
have 4 matches to worry about. First up is Bailey, La Catalina, and Lola Vice versus Las Tóxicas. It's Flamer, Lady Maravilla, and La Hiedra. And I think it's probably safe to assume that the team with WWE women on it is probably going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there.
And then we've got a AAA World Tag Title match: Pagano and Psycho Clown versus the War Raiders. I'm assuming Pagano and Psycho Clown retain here.
Yes.
Then we've got our AAA Latin American title match: El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. versus El Hijo de Vikingo. I'm going to pick Hijo de Vikingo to win this match.
I'm gonna go Vikingo as well. And then what a main event this is: mask versus
Yeah.
match. El Grande Americano versus the original El Grande
So
Americano.
it's Ludwig Kaiser versus Chad Gable, and the loser has to go back to that
I honestly hope Gable loses.
identity.
I don't know if he will.
I agree. He should. He definitely should. Because Ludwig Kaiser as El Grande Americano is like over like a fucking national hero in AAA. It's crazy.
I'm not even trying to insult Kaiser when I say he may never be this over again. Like, I feel like he needs this more than
He's
Gable does.
only
Because
going to be this over for as long as he keeps doing this gimmick in Mexico,
yeah,
which is
I feel like
insane because this gimmick is racist as fuck.
yeah, but they're eating it up, dude. I mean, you just said like gangbusters. Whereas Gable,
I
I want to
think
see Gable
honestly, I
as
think
baby.
the reason though that he is so over is because unlike Gable, he has actively put effort into learning the culture. He's cutting promos in Spanish. He has a hot Latina girlfriend that he literally stood up for and got arrested for recently that there was a whole fucking thing about. Like he is going to get a hero's welcome when he shows back up in Mexico.
Which, just to be clear on that last thing, based Kaiser. I've always been kind of
Yes.
ambivalent on the guy, but that was fucking cool. That was fucking cool.
Yeah.
And we're really with Chad Gable, like, and again, this is just John the fan talking. I'm not trying to like claim objectivity or anything like that. I just want to see babyface Chad Gable again one of these days. Like, knowing that
Ooh.
we live in a world where Gunther might be about to become WWE champion, and just like I feel like it's more likely that fuck. Dragonov would be a challenger before a Chad Gable really depresses the fuck out of me.
Oh fuck. Yeah, that's
Uh,
bad.
um, just because I want to see Gable and Gunther run it back anyway, and I feel like Gable being that baby face that gets put through the fucking ringer by Gunther and ultimately loses. I don't think he's just gonna go from El Grande Americano to WWE champion. But like I want to see him in those higher spots, and I think he could really do it as a baby face. I hated how they treated his Intercontinental title pursuit because I think fundamentally it did nothing for Sammy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean it's been a fun gimmick for him. He's gotten more mileage
Oh
out of it than I
man.
thought he would. But yeah, I'm gonna go with El Grande Americano.
Dude, it is so funny that you made that connection to Chad Gable and wanting him to be a baby face and wanting him to get a main event push when that's literally our next question from Abel. Who is someone you could see having a Kofi Mania type run where they're career mid carders with a lot of fan support but have never been able to win the big one? I feel like your answer is just Chad Gable.
Yeah, Chad Gable, and I was gonna say for women, even though I still think she's gonna get to the main event sooner than Kofi did, I was thinking like a Chelsea Green maybe for the women. Because we could have women have a Kofi Mania type run.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chad Gable for men, abso-fucking-lutely. That dude, insane.
And on
Insane.
the other side of that exact same coin for me, it's Sami Zayn because like
Yeah.
obviously current Sami Zayn isn't going to get there, but if you get the system behind a good underdog babyface Sami Zayn, the sky's the limit.
Literally, I feel like it all started for Kofi with that gauntlet match they did to determine chamber release numbers. Just put Sammy in a fucking gauntlet. Remember how much Seth's stock went up when he did that gauntlet match where he eliminated both Roman and John Cena in the same match? Just put Sammy in a fucking gauntlet match and have him look fucking great in it. I think
Didn't
that
they
solves half the
even
problem.
do that with Chad and Sammy leading up to Mania that one year though? And Chad like went through like 4 dudes, and then Sammy came in and beat him at the last minute.
I thought
Oh
it was
God!
I thought it was the other way around actually, where Sammy was the one that did the run through, and then
Oh,
Gable
was
came
it?
out last. He was
Oh
fresh.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Shaggy was perfect answer, and that's Q&A, a bit of a smaller Q&A, which I'm grateful for because it's almost 2 fucking a.m. and I'm like so behind the fucking 8 ball. So high spots, low shots. My low shot, Jesus Christ. My low shot politically might just be any place with a fucking data center. Like I keep thinking about that story
Yeah.
Subaru posted about Utah getting one, so I'm gonna say Utah residents unfortunately are my low shot because that data center is going to fuck up. They're already drought. By the way, New Hampshire's also in a drought. Like our water tables, I think, are reading moderate, so it's not too bad. But like we don't have the water for like multiple data centers, and apparently already in our state, there's like several of them. I won't put an exact number to it because I don't want to fact check right now. But I sure as shit more than one, and we just can't afford it. We
Which
can't
is
afford it
too
ecologically,
many.
and exactly, fucking exactly. So Utah is my low shot, unfortunately. What about you, Ashton? Who's your low shot this week?
Oh man. I am gonna say I know we've done Trump specifically a lot, but I'm actually gonna say the Republican Party because they are faced with a choice where they can either impeach their dear leader who has kept their voters enthusiastic for a decade now, if they want any actual hope to move forward as a party, or they can die a slow death because of their dear leader, constantly endorsing unelectable candidates and handing Texas to the Dems.
Yeah, yeah, that party is in fucking shambles. By the way, tangential note about just the Trump regime specifically. This is one story domestically we did not talk about in politics because we just talked about so much. Tulsi Gabbard resigned.
That's
So that's
right.
another.
Dude, a member of Trump's cabinet resigned, and there was so much else to talk about. We forgot about it.
Yeah, she
And
resigned
of course, it
apparently.
was another woman. Like
Yeah,
she's joining Pam Bondi and Christy Nome in Trump cabinet heaven.
yeah, like now apparently reports say that it's because her husband has had health issues. I think some rare form of like bone cancer.
Oh
Now
wow.
I'm not saying that that didn't inform her decision, but me personally, I think there was more at play here. I wonder internally if Tulsi maybe dealt with some kind of shame or conscience because this was a woman that used to campaign on being like fervently anti-war. She even sold specifically "No War with Iran" T-shirts apparently. And look where we are now, right? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. So she was another person that sold out her principles to have proximity to power. I am sorry what happened to her husband. Cancer is fucking awful, especially if you're talking about a rare form of bone cancer. That's got to be just fucking nightmarish.
Dude, you know
Um,
what though? I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now.
yeah,
Tulsi Gabbard is a compassionless fucking ghoul.
yeah, mm-hmm,
If
yeah.
if the only bad thing going on in her life was that her husband was sick, she would not resign from a job this powerful. There's no fucking way.
I agree with you completely. That's why I think there's more to the story, bro. 100%. There's got to be. Like, yeah, yeah, I'd love to know the full story there. And maybe it is just Trump
Dude,
sexism and another woman and not liking the job she was doing. I don't
it's
know.
crazy because
But
even back in 2016, I want to, or no, it was 2020. Even back in 2020, when Tulsi Gabbard was trying to become the Democratic nomination for president, like in that big pool where it was like her and Kamala and Bernie and Joe Biden and fucking like Tom Steyer was even there, I think, at one point, and I forget the Bloomberg, Mike Bloomberg was there, like that whole crew of people. And like fucking Liz Warren and people like it was an insane group of Democrats trying to become president in 2020. She was one of them. And even then, I have a Facebook post, I have a receipt of myself saying that I think Tulsi Gabbard lacks compassion.
yeah,
And this was
yeah.
when she was still a Democrat before she decided to fully sell out to Russia and just go full all in on MAGA.
I think that's why politicians have disappointed me because like my leftism came gradually. Like it wasn't just like 0 to 180. You know what I mean? It was like I definitely stopped believing in capitalism first. That was the first thing because I'm like any system that could do the things that I had witnessed. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, we got to do better. But then I was always with the leftist, and I still kind of am low key. But you could tell I'm far more cynical and jaded than I was like even like a handful of years ago. Where it's like, no, you do electoralism and harm reduction, but you get in those spaces and you canvas and you peddle leftist ideology, which I still agree with. I think any socialist, for example, that infiltrates No Kings and is like, hey, join up with us, here's our mutual aid network, whatever, based. Like, you got to get on the ground floor. I absolutely agree with that. But, like, politicians like Tulsi are why I've gotten so cynical. It's like, people believed in you. People believed in you. People donated to you. You think money's easy to part with, especially in this economy? I'm not saying they did it for Tulsi recently, obviously, but you get what I mean. Like,
yeah.
money's never easy to part with. And that's why any candidate now, especially in this economy, if people are donating to you and you still let them down, oh, you could get so fucked. She was a fucking sellout. And again, I don't know her husband. He didn't
I don't
fucking do
know
this
who's
shit. He,
worse
yeah,
between her and Jill Stein.
yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough fucking contest. Um, yeah, just what an absolute fucking sellout. But high spot. I am actually going to give my high spot to the fucking people of Bolivia because I was shocked when I first heard that
Nice.
they were even doing a national strike. But the idea that they have shut the government down, I loved how one leftist put it. Remember, every people of every country has their own Strait of Hormuz. And I fucking love that because when you find the economic pain point or you find a way to just coordinate and shut shit down, the power just tips dramatically in the hands of the workers and the masses.
Yeah.
So, Bolivia, the workers, everybody shutting shit down. Salute you, rooting for you. You know, I'm the foreign policy guy here, or at least I try to be. I know I could always be better on every front, but I'm really glad I had friends that alerted me to this, so I'm grateful to them too. Solidarity to the people of Bolivia. Take out that neoliberal government. Fuck neoliberalism. Fuck techno feudalism. Fuck capitalism and fuck fascism. And who is your high spot, or what is your high spot, brother? Because I'm curious what direction you're going to go this week.
Oh, this is a tough one because I have someone in mind that I'm going to fall back on if I can't come up with someone better. I will not give my high spot to any actual Republicans. Like I know that like Ed Galbraith won his election. Thomas Massey lost his election, but that also means that he lost his shackles and now he can be unhinged if he wants to.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to give my high spot to any of them. I do want to give an honorary high spot to Zoran Mamdani because he this week decided that he's going to start streaming on Twitch, using the logic that back in the day, Republicans would, or not Republicans, politicians would use the radio to convey their messages, and that was like the latest communication technology at the time. So he's going to use the newest or latest communication technology now, and he just views that as being Twitch. So he's going to do that. Also, Zoran refused to attend the Israel Day parade this week. That was fantastic. So yeah, huge props to Zoran. He's my honorable high spot. Um, but I think my actual high spot has got to go to James Tallarico because Donald Trump endorsed the guy that you have the better chance of beating. And a video came out this week of him meeting a legend, a woman named Opal Lee. Are you familiar with this?
I think I'm vaguely familiar.
She walked from Texas to DC at like 80 something years old, almost 90 years old. She walked from Texas to DC to basically try and advocate for the government to make Juneteenth a national holiday. And she was there when Biden signed that into law.
Yeah. Okay.
And James
Okay.
Tallarico met with her this week, and it was like, yeah, like it was a really sweet little meeting that they had, and she seems like she's still pretty with it, even though she's almost 100 years old now. Kind of insane. Um, and yeah, it's just really beautiful. And like you combine that really cool little tidbit that he got to kind of have that moment with her, especially knowing that he is struggling with the black voting block. That's going to win some people over. And you combine that with the fact that Trump endorsed his easier to beat opponent. Talarico's having an amazing week as far as I'm concerned. So he's my high spot. And yeah, Mamdani is my honorary high spot.
Thing about Mamdani, just to strengthen your case, let's also remember again that he did collect 9 million from Amazon in fines that they had to pay, like idling fines.
Yeah.
So once again, getting money from those corporations, man, and giving it back to the people. Like New York City, with how Mamdani's governing, like people aren't stupid. I've even already seen people be like, it is so crazy that like New York City is having this amazing, joyful arc while the rest of the country's
Yeah.
dystopia. And like, yeah, people are like, I want the New York City package. Give me that shit. Fuck.
Yes.
Um,
Dude, it's crazy because like he has like a lot of people that get compared to Zoran Mamdani distance themselves from him just because they know that he carries a certain like there's I don't know how to describe it, but like there's certain like pre presumptions about Zoran that people don't want to be associated with necessarily. But I have seen two or three, no, it was three. I've seen three different Democratic candidates get compared with Zoran just this week. Graham Plattner was one of them, and he has made it clear that he and Zoran agree on a lot of things, but they're not the same candidate. This woman running for governor in, was it Iowa?
uh, yeah, I'm
I'm
not
trying to.
sure.
I'm gonna pull up the video real quick. Her name is Francesca Hong.
Yes.
Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin. She's running for governor in Wisconsin. She got asked in an interview that I saw this week if she is similar to Zoran, and she pretty much said the same thing as Plattner. It was like we agree on a lot, but I am bringing Wisconsin values while he has his New York City values. Plus, I think a lot of people are trying to distance themselves from Zoran because Zoran is like came up rich. Like Zoran grew up with money, and like Plattner and Francesca definitely did not, especially Plattner. Like Plattner grew up poor as hell. And then
Yeah.
I think I saw something about Tallarico getting compared to fucking Zoran this week too. It's crazy. Like Zoran Mamdani is the mayor of one city in the country. He does not have that much power in the grand scheme of things, but he has so much influence. It's amazing.
Yeah. It
I
it
love
really
it.
is.
Yeah.
Not to mention Zoran's dad apparently is based because I think his dad was like a professor or something, but like he's very like anti-colonial and he's like straight up
Nice.
called like Israel a Zionist settler state, which got so
Hell
many people
yeah.
mad, but like it's true. He was telling the truth. Like, if you're getting mad at facts, that's a you problem. So yeah, I mean, just crazy times we live in, crazy times. But
Yeah.
that is the show, mercifully, sweet mother of God.
3.5 hours, one of our longest weekly recaps ever.
Oh my God. So yeah, guys, thank you so fucking much for joining us. Please leave a like as you file out. Subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best podcast on the internet today. And thankfully, things will go back to normal for me tomorrow. And so, TWitWoW content really shouldn't be threatened about things I got going on here. We might have Mud of Gold next, like, Wednesday or so. I have to see when the family wants to get together with me or what my week looks like. But we definitely have Stardom Thursday. We absolutely have Stardom Thursday. No
Six
ambiguity about
matches.
that. 6 matches. Love the little squeak there. 6 matches. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be epic. I know. Everybody's gonna be there. 6 matches at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. And yeah, then if you're just like John, you know, just I want to hear you guys talk about politics more. Well, I don't know if I share that desire that you do, but if you do, you can check us out again for weekly recap Saturdays at 10:30, which
Every
again is pro wrestling.
Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Exactly, because it's pro wrestling, politics, and one final time, pop culture. And so, yeah, you can join us for that. But, guys, hey, thanks again for joining us. Have a great rest of your weekend. I know things are scary right now. I know things are hard. But, I mean, again, I think about Super Blue doing what he can with PBS. Anything we can do, just being our best selves. I'm proud of you guys. I love you guys. Stay in there. Keep your head in the game. Find your joy. Joy is resistance, remember. So, whatever that looks like for you, embrace it. Have a great rest of your weekend. Big love to you. Be good to yourselves and especially each other. Tune in and peace out.